and they weren't worried about social media because it didn't exist.
Right.
You know, our events were the social media. Our flyers were social media. You know, you had choices. Do I go to this event or do I go to this event? Because that's not how it was in the 90s. Everybody was a part of it, whether you were a gangster, whether you were a tagger, whether you were a goth, whether you were a rockero.
Darks.
Yeah, it didn't matter. You were part of the 90s. You had your own house parties.
Yes, the day is here. Super excited about this week's guest. You could probably tell, hint, 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 who that guest is. Mr. Biggs, creator of house parties in the 90s, house parties in the 80s, and Boleros y Más. You can follow them on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Big shout out to the page and its supporters. Because of you, we've been able to make a significant impact to foster children and homeless children in Southern California. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Keep swinging, and we'll see you on the next one. You know what pringo is?
No.
She's half Salvi, bro. She should know what pringar is.
You can sit on either side, man.
Oh.
Whichever side you want.
Like Rocky?
Oh, just a little bit. Does it look like I do?
Yeah. Just has them all over his body.
Huh? Yeah, I got so like my whole left shin. So like right here it's the tiger, like the eye of the tiger. And then I have Rocky when he used to be what like one of those collectors. You know, you collect money like a loan shark.
Uh-huh.
So I have him, and then I have Rocky and Adrian holding hands, and then I have Rocky winning. So like this whole bottom part is like dedicated to Rocky. Yeah, Rocky has a special place in my heart.
Is he like a personal motivator to you, or?
It's a lot of my childhood. You know what I mean? Like when we were kids, if you want to pull it closer, let me see how is it gonna be with you? Here, let me set you up. Oh, you can move this too.
Oh, okay. Entre más me cubre la cara, mejor.
Yeah. We're gonna do one of those like interviews de Pedro Sepsek. Yeah, dude, but Rocky for me is just like growing up, my mom's like always been an entrepreneur, you know, so she's always like been working. And my dad had a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
So nos cuidaba, you know, and so we always used to watch movies with him. And he loved like Rocky, Van Damme, Chuck Norris, Arnold. So we grew up with all that.
How about Charles Bronson?
Charles Bronson. Yeah, 100%. Charles Bronson was dope, man.
Yeah.
And so it's for me, like the whole Rocky saga, it's like it's a love story, right? To me, it's a love story, like taking care of your girl, but also you don't always have to win, like necessarily win. Winning is giving yourself a chance, and that's what he wanted. He just wanted a chance, you know, and he got the shot, even though he lost, like in the first movie.
But he still won because he got the shot.
He got the shot.
Yeah.
Just give me a shot, man. So in life, that's what I want. Like I want to be given a shot. So it's very inspiring for me.
Okay.
So before I get started with anything, man, I just wanted to thank you. You know, you've been super helpful, you know, with the charities. So we raised $10,000.
That's good, man. Congratulations. I knew you guys could do it, man.
Thank you.
It's an honor for me to be a part of anything that you do, bro, because you got this golden touch, and you know everything you touch, man, it happens. So I'm honored, bro.
No, thank you. The page, the DJs, the supporters. You know, you also helped us with the toy drive. You've been helping us with the toy drive. Yeah. You know, coming out here, and so, you know, above all, like as a friend, I just want to thank you for everything and
thank
recognize
you.
that.
Thank you. It's an honor for you to, to have you as a friend, bro. And I don't see you as a friend anymore. I see you as family. So, I know I could probably call you at 2 in the morning to bug you.
I'll still be awake. Last night I couldn't sleep, man. It was like 1:30 and I'm like, fuck, I gotta wake up so early, dude. Like to come over here, but you know what I mean?
I went to sleep at 2 in the morning.
Really?
Yeah.
What are we watching?
Well, we went to the movies.
Oh, what'd you guys watch?
We went to watch a scary movie called Talk to Me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It sucked?
No, it was good.
Oh.
That's why I couldn't go to sleep. That's how scary it was.
I can't even watch previews of scary movies. That gives
we
me...
just seen a bunch of previews for October. Oh my
Uh-huh.
God, man! There's the new Exorcist that's coming out with Linda Blair.
Uh-huh.
Did she pass away? I think she passed away, but I guess some of the scenes were when she was alive, and it's not one anymore. It's two.
To what?
Two Exorcist girls.
Oh, yeah. The little white girl and the little black girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just
Do you like scary movies?
well, yeah, my mom always loved scary movies. So
Mm.
every time back in the day, you could go to a video store and the movies were 3 for $5.
Oh, I remember that.
So she would always make me pick one Spanish one, a funny one, and then two scary ones.
Did you used to read like the back of the boxes
Yeah,
and try to see which one had a good scene?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But my mom used to tell me to get these scary ass movies like there was one called Bloody Birthday. Of course, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th, and all those. But she would make me pick some crazy ones, man. That if it made it in the theater, people ran out because that's how scary they were, man.
Yeah, for me, scary movies just scare the shit out of me. Like, for real. Like, I fucking can't sleep for real. Like, I'm just sitting there looking up at even the air conditioning ducts. I'm
Right,
like, is one motherfucker could come out of this? Like, I
right.
just can't sleep, man.
Well, last night I couldn't sleep because of that movie.
What's it about?
It's about this hand that it belonged to a medium,
Uh-huh.
and so it's in
La mano
order
peluda?
something like that. Yeah, so they chopped it off,
Uh-huh.
and so I guess they put clay around it
Uh-huh.
to prevent it from doing anything. But every time you put your hand on there and you say "talk to me," whatever soul was there would show up, and then you have to say, "I let you come, into me."
Yeah.
And so the soul will go into the body, and then it will either warn you or it needs help, or it's just but it has to be within a minute and a half.
Mm.
If it goes beyond the minute and a half, then it stays in your body and it kills you.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it was pretty bad.
So your mom likes scary movies then?
Yeah, she used to love scary movies. That was her thing, man. Every Sunday we would go and get 6 movies and just watch them all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she would wonder why I was traumatized from Monday to Friday when I was at
Like,
school.
I can't go to school. You grew up out there in Culver City, or?
No, I grew up in the first 10 years of my life. Well, I was born and raised in LA, at General Hospital in East LA.
East Los.
Yeah, the first 10 years I was at East Hollywood. Now they call it Little Armenia, in that part of the East Hollywood. Then the rest of my years, it was in the Rampart District.
Mm.
So that's why grew up, raised, and that was the hard knocks over there on that side. Yeah.
And I know your mom's from El Salvador, right?
She was from El Salvador. She was from El Puerto La Libertad.
El Puerto de la Libertad.
Yeah, she came to the United States in 1970.
Oh shit!
And then
Why did she come? Did she ever tell you why she came?
she came for a lot of reasons, bro. She had a rough childhood. She was they took her out of her mom took her out of the school when she was in the second grade, put her to work.
Mm.
Between her and her mom, they needed money, so put her to work. And there's a lot of stuff that her mom did to her, physically and all that stuff. So as soon as she turned 14, this Marine that she had met, they kind of fell in love, and she ended up having her first kid at 15. So she was struggling over in El Salvador. So she decided to come to the United States, and try to have a better life for her and my brother who passed away unfortunately too.
I'm sorry.
And so from there in 1975, this handsome king was born.
But did your mom come by herself?
She came by herself. The first time she told me that the first time she came, it was easy to cross the border. It wasn't hard.
Yeah.
It was because there was rarely anybody crossing the borders because they just found ways to survive in their own country. But after I was born in 75, in 70, she was working at a factory in downtown LA, and they were cracking down on the immigrants.
Mm.
So immigration will go to these where they do sewings and they do all kinds of stuff, and she got arrested and she got deported.
Mm.
So no, I apologize. This happened in 77 because my brother was born in 76. So she got deported in 77. And then she was there for 3 years.
Did you guys go back with her?
No. We stayed here with my brother that was born in El Salvador. He came afterwards.
Mm.
He was 21 or 18, 19, around at that time. So he was taking care of us while my mom was trying to get back.
That's a big responsibility for 18-year-old.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I still remember. He wanted a party.
Yeah.
And he did the best he could.
Yeah.
I didn't have a father around, so to me, being raised by my brothers felt like I was being raised by my dad.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot from him during the years. But then my mom came back. She came back in 1980. I believe it was before the Civil War.
Okay.
So, but she was there during the war between Honduras and El Salvador over the soccer game.
The soccer game?
Yeah, she was
That's
actually
so
in Honduras.
crazy.
Yeah, she was actually in Honduras when it happened. And she said that a lot of kids were getting killed.
Oh, wow.
If they knew that they were from Salvadorian parents or dad or mother, they would kill them. They would bang them against the wall.
Was it catrachos?
The catrachos, yeah. And she said that she had ran because, the whole thing just broke off. And there was a bakery, and the bakery was closed. She was, able to go in, and she hid in the oven.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, she hid in the oven for a long time, she said. And then
It lasted a couple days, right?
Yeah, she was there until it was over.
Yeah.
And then she was able to, come out and manage to survive that stuff. Yeah, my mom, I mean, we could sit here for months talking about all the stuff just when my mom went from when she was 10 all the way to about 25, 26. She
Yeah.
went through a lot of stuff.
That's one of the things I don't think sometimes. Well, it's what they say, and your parents probably say it all the time. No vas a entender hasta que tengas mi edad. O no vas a entender hasta que tengas hijos.
Hijos, right.
And-
I personally didn't understand her. Now that I'm older and she's not around, when she passed away, I had a lot of guilt. So I could have, should have, would have, But then I realized, wait. And I know this now as a parent and as a son, that we are not responsible for our parents' actions.
Right.
And we learn that. We learn that as we get older. And when we're young, we feel guilt, like, oh, I gotta do something to help them out. But these are choices that they made while they were raising us. And, a lot of parents did a great job, and a lot of parents, just didn't have the resources to, to better themselves. But as children, we were supposed to kind of give them that push, that motivation. Like, hey, mom, I'll help you how to speak English, or help you how to read or write. Those are some other things that I took for granted that I should have, could have, would have.
Yeah.
And as you get older, you kind of realize that, like, okay, well, maybe, she should have done it first. And then whatever was left, then I could have came in. And so you learn a lot, man.
It's that, right? Where I think now that you're older, or at least for me, it's like I understand my parents more.
Right.
Once I know their story, like what you're telling me about your mom, shit, being in an oven for I don't know however many
Couple
days.
days. She was there for a couple days, and she saw. Well, she didn't see, but during that time between her running, She saw a lot of, a lot of kids' heads being slammed against the wall, a lot of guys being killed, a lot of women being killed and raped. So she saw a lot between when it was at the stadium all the way to where she found that bakery and was able to hide.
And that's something that I think now it's a little bit easier to understand that there are psychological effects where
Right,
before it was more like just get the fuck over it and just fucking deal with it. But in reality, it's in your
right,
subconscious, and then that translates to how you act in life or how you treat certain situations. And
right,
sometimes you don't know what those triggers are, but that shit could come up. So one time my mom, and I've said this before, she told me like a lot of stories about my dad, a lot
okay,
of stories about how he grew up and things that he went through. And there was one particular story where I'm like, damn, that's fucked up. Like it hurt me to
right,
know that he went through that.
right,
And she said, look, just because you understand someone doesn't mean you accept it,
right,
but it helps you understand where they're coming from.
right.
I'm like, yeah, that's true. So it's like the same thing,
Yeah, my
like,
mom, when she was raising us, she raised us to have tough skin or
oh
rough
yeah.
skin. You know what I mean? I remember one time going to elementary school, I would get punked. And I still remember this cat's name, and I would tell her. His name is Sylvester. And I know where
What's up, Sylvester?
yeah, I know where you at, homie. I know
What's
where you
up, fool?
at. He's unfortunately, he made some bad choices, and he's been in the pen for a long, long time, and unfortunately, he's never coming out. But he left this thing in the back of my head that I'm always gonna remember. I was in the fifth grade, no, fourth grade, and this kid would come around and would always hit me.
Yeah.
Ah, give me your lunch ticket. And at that time, you could make rounds going back to the cafeteria and getting
The little yellow tickets?
the little yellow tickets. And so every day he would take my tickets. And so my mom had this thing like, I don't want you fighting. You got to do what Jesus does. If they slapped him on his left face, on his left cheek, and you always got to give your right cheek. So yo de tonto, I would go and he would hit me hard on my left cheek, and then I would go like that and give him my right cheek, and he would look at me like, "What are you doing?" Well, my mom said that I can't fight, so I have to give you my right cheek, and he would laugh and he would hit me. Bah. So one time he left me all, with two black eyes, and my mom beat me because of that.
Yeah.
So I don't want you fighting, but that was her thing. I don't want you fighting, and you're provoking him to fight you. So my older brother, the one who was taking care of us, he was a loner. He didn't need anybody, and that's why I look up to him a lot because all these neighborhoods wanted him, but he wanted to ride solo.
Yeah.
And he defended himself from a lot of people.
And this is like when you were in Rampart?
This was when I was in East Hollywood,
Okay.
and so my brother had told me, "Look, man, go back to school because I didn't want to go to school no more. Go back to school tomorrow, and you do whatever it takes to beat him. You bite him, you scratch him, you do whatever it takes, and you hit him everywhere. So if you come back bleeding, or if you come back with another black guy, I'm gonna beat your ass."
'Cause I'm not my mom, but I'm
Yeah,
gonna beat you.
and my brother I'm 6'1". My brother was 6'5", slim,
Damn.
and he was just all muscle.
Yeah.
Very handsome cat, man, and they used to call him Fernando Allende.
Who's Fernando Allende?
He's a Mexican actor slash singer,
Okay.
but real handsome cat.
Yeah.
The firm chin, everything.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of girls, and but that's why that's why he had that confidence in him because he carried himself that way. He goes, I don't. You see me coming home, black guys or nothing. Nah, bro. He goes, you got to get them. He goes, street fighting, anything goes.
Right.
So I waited a couple of days, and Sylvester shows up again, and he's about to hit me. And when he swang, I grabbed his hand and I bit the shit out of him. And he started screaming, and then I just scratched his face, started punching, and I hit him, in his private area. He fell, and I just got on top of him and just started swinging. And all that anger that I had, because of all those times he was doing that to me, it just got released. And from that day, I stopped letting myself.
How old are you?
I was 11,
Yeah.
10 or 11 years old. Yeah.
That's like fifth grade, like right around sixth
Yeah.
grade, something like that.
And the thing was that my mom expected me to grow up already
Yeah.
because there was no man in the house. So
And she had to grow up quick too.
yeah,
And
so
so did your brother.
yeah, and but my brother had other issues because of that too, you know. So I had to grow up fast. I had to, you know, hey, I need you to grow up fast. I need you to start working and helping in the house. You know, you are going to be the man of the house. Because my brother didn't live with us. He would just go visit. And so, yeah, I had to grow up fast, bro. I had to grow up real fast. I ended up being a father at an early age, too.
How old were you?
13 going on 14.
Hijo de su madre.
Yeah.
That's young, man.
That's young. And so I was still playing with G.I. Joes when I had to go to the prenatal appointments and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was 13, that's 8th grade.
7th grade.
So
Yeah. 14 is 8th grade, 15 is 9th grade.
yeah, like I don't have kids, so like when I try to remember back, it's so hard for me because there's no like little kids in my life. I can never like, oh, 13 is it? Like I'm always fucking off. But the same thing that scenario with like your mom said, like don't fight, but you know, like getting those black eyes on your brother. Same thing with me in 6th grade. So like there was several times a lot of times actually I got bullied in elementary school.
Okay.
A lot, dude. I remember this fucking kid. We used to call him Pelo Zanahoria because he had bright orange hair.
Right.
Bright orange hair. He was older, and I remember him beating the shit out of me. And I want to say I was in maybe 2nd or 3rd grade, dude. Like on the way home, and just not like he hit me. Like this was like stomping on me, dude, against the fence, like bah, bah, just fucking kicking my ass, dude. Um, and other, you know, situations where it's like I wanted to, like I didn't want to fight, like you
Right.
know,
Right.
I'm not doing ill will, just like I was a good kid.
Right.
And I remember in 6th grade, this kid, he's a twin. His name's Lewis. I forgot what his brother's name is.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember we were in the bleachers and he smacked my heads together with John Lee. His name was John Lee. So he came up behind us and just did that shit.
Right.
And I just wailed on him. We got suspended. But then when my dad came to the school, you know, he said, I'm not mad at you. Te defendiste. He's like, I don't ever want you to fight, but I never want someone to punk you.
Right.
Like, if someone does that to you, you have my 100% authority to fuck them up. In Spanish.
Yeah, of
You
course.
know, le da verga.
And Salvi style too.
Yeah, he's just like, eso, he's like, en la vida, he's like, tú tienes que poner un hasta aquí.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta draw the line. So my dad's a guy that, now he's a little bit more flexible, but you can't joke with him with insults. Like how, you know, like mariconadas.
Right.
It's like, hey man, like, no me faltes el respeto. You know, like, I'm not going to disrespect you because as soon as you start just disrespecting each other, like, he feels that you just lose something. Like in a relationship too, like if you start cursing or if you start raising your voice, you start yelling, then it becomes constant.
Right.
That's again, that was his
that was my mom's way of thinking too. When it came to relationships, when it came to siblings,
Mhm.
when it came to friends, you can't cross a certain line. You have to have that level of respect. My mom always told me, you know, a la gente no se le trata de vos, sino que de usted. Siempre se tiene que decir permiso, buenas noches, buenos días, all that stuff, which is in this generation doesn't exist.
Bro, my dad used to have us answer the fucking phone like a hotel. Aló, buenos días. Aló, buenos días. Aló, buenas tardes. Sí, ¿con quién desea hablar?
My mom used to tell me to announce my name every time aló, buenos días, soy Samuel, ¿en qué le puedo ayudar?
Yes.
And
I'm like, what the? Now looking back, it's like little kids. Hello, good morning.
Right.
Where's residents?
There's a little joke about that. My mom, you know, at that time, low income people couldn't afford to just go to any place and purchase anything. So people would come to the door and they would sell jewelry, they would sell furniture, they would sell cabinets, dressers, and all that stuff. And you can pay it weekly or monthly, just like those blankets, San Marcos.
Mm.
So one time, my mom had bought some jewelry, and she was late, like in two payments. So the guy went to the door, and my mom, I was like 8, and my mom goes, "Decirle que no estoy, right? Que venga la otra semana, que en la otra semana le pago." So I, innocently, the guy's knocking, and I go, "Sí, mire, mi mamá dice que no está." And so the guy started laughing. He goes, pues dígale a su mamá que voy a rezar la otra semana. Okay, ahí le digo. And instead of staying quiet and whispering, I told her exactly what he had said, and you could tell
Hey,
that
Ma!
you could tell that he was right, in the door, and he was laughing all the way to the outside, bro. My mom beat my ass.
That's so
Que
funny,
yo no
dude.
te dije que le dijeras ahorita que yo te estoy diciendo que,
Que no estoy.
que no estoy, yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's different, man. It's different. I think the way that maybe kids are brought up. And that was my dad. That was my parents. Saludar.
Yeah.
Saludar, da
Oh,
la mano.
yeah. And if you didn't do it, bro,
Da
it
la
was a wrap.
mano. A la mujer he's like, se le aprieta la mano, pero no se le quiebra.
Right.
Hay un hombre, it's con fuerza, but not like over the top. So
Right.
little things of like, he taught us how to shake hands.
Right.
He, los adultos están hablando, like, you're not fucking around with my conversation. Like, adults are talking, you sit there, you be quiet,
Or you go to your room or wherever you're supposed to go to.
o después, vas a ver.
Oh, my mom, she would always tell me, she would give me this look, like, there's adults coming, she would look at me, and I would just get up and go to the kitchen.
And sometimes, dude, I see parents and I'm just like, damn, bro, you don't control your kids. Like, you just let them run wild. Like, my parents would let me run wild, at the appropriate time. But, like, you can't, in my mind, you can't be a kid that's an annoying ass kid interrupting adults when they're having an adult conversation. Like, you got to learn respect.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, too, it's whenever the son and the mother go out, or the daughter, they are a reflection of you as a parent. So my mom would always tell me, "Vamos a ir a la tienda, but I don't want you touching anything or asking for anything. We're here for certain things, and then we're gone. Once we're gone and you guys behave, then I'll, treat you to a snack or whatever." And same thing too, we'll go to parties. And my mom goes, "Don't ask for nothing. If they offer you, look at me, and if I say yes, then you can say yes."
No, my dad, like, even going to, like, getting a plate of food. You know what I mean? It's respect. Todo se hace con respeto. Siempre saludar, buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. A los hombres se le ve a los ojos.
Yeah.
He's like, nunca quiero que estés hablando así. So,
Yeah.
like, little things, dude, that, again, back then, it's just like, oh, this motherfucker's so annoying.
Yeah.
But now, it's how you carry yourself in life, or at least me, with confidence.
Right.
It's how I know that I am respectful. Last time he was here, maybe like 6 months, within the last 6 months, and he was, a little emotional, apologetic, and saying, "Hey, I'm sorry that I was so hard on you guys."
Right.
Just kind of like regret of maybe
Right.
certain things that he didn't know how he was raising us. No parents know. They don't have an instruction manual. You're always trying to
You're
figure
learning.
it out. You're learning. And so I said, "Dad, the reason I'm respectful, the reason I do charity work, the reason that most people that have known my parents and like all their friends or business relationships, they've always said, sus hijos son bien respetuosos. Like, if I walk into a room and I see my parents with someone, oh, buenos días.
You have to.
Buenos días, buenas tardes, con permiso,
Right.
provecho."
Right.
And now kids, it's like, they don't give a...
They'll stand in front of you just to talk to the parent. My kids, I have twin sons who are they're gonna be 27 already, and my daughter who's 23. They were still raised by my mom before she passed away. So she raised them the way she raised me. My mom had a second grade education, bro, but her dinner table etiquette was impeccable, bro. She knew what fork salad went where, what where the spoons went, the napkins and everything. And I'm like, how? And she was the fastest. She could count with her fingers faster than I could get on a calculator. You know what I mean? Like she knew her math by counting her fingers. She would sit down, debo esto, blah, blah, blah,
Mira
blah.
este.
Yeah, and she would andar a traer la calculadora. And by the time I turn it on, she go, oh, debo 578. And I would punch it in, and it was the same amount, bro.
Yeah.
So she amazed me in the stuff that she knew or learned through the years without an education. And, and she was well mannered too. That she could get wild like every Saudi woman can.
Yeah.
It's in her nature, but her mannerism was amazing. So I would just look at her with awe, like, damn, like it just. She would always tell me, when you're walking with your girl, make sure that she's in the inside of the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Because you always got to protect her no matter what. And your daughters, when you introduce them to somebody, they have to see that they are the same como calidad de la mujer that you want them to be. And so nowadays that there's no longer grandmas anymore. The grandmas are in their 40s.
They're MILFs.
Yeah. The daughters are in their 20s.
Oh, actually, it's not MILFs. It's GILFs. GILFs.
And so, and then the daughters are having kids now. So we don't have that grandma who was 70, 75, 80 that's raising.
Tatarabuelas.
Yeah. And so all that stuff, we lost it, bro. It's now no longer there. And so I feel as men, I think we should learn, well, not learn, but we should bring that back in some way. So the new generation can start bringing that back, just like every trend.
Mm-hmm.
The 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. I think it should be brought back, man, because everybody lost respect for everybody when it comes to this new generation.
It's like the way I see things sometimes, man. It's the way of the outside world versus the real world, and what I mean by that is like, how do you raise your kids, or how do you have relationships like this relationship, right?
Right.
You and I have talked many times on the phone,
Right.
And it's cordial. I've told you my views on certain things where I'm like, hey man, it's like, this is the way I see it, right?
Right.
But it's not social media, right? Like social media is like, sometimes to me, like I posted a video yesterday about my stupid freckles, right? Because I got freckles, el pecoso. But it was just an excuse to post the video, to be funny, just to be like a little bit of a personality.
Right.
But that's not me. Like that's not who I am. That's a part of me. And so sometimes, like the what you're saying, that respect is to understand that like that respect is within like the actual relationships that you have in the physical world, but I carry that into the real world. I'm sorry, I carry that into the fake world, which is the social media side. So I never see a video and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Or I don't start talking shit to people. I'm never disrespectful.
Right.
If I don't like it, I don't like it. No big deal. Like it doesn't, But one of the things that you have on your page, it's always like, be respectful. You're going to get banned, because it's like, why are you wasting your energy coming here and talking shit when we're all just about positivity,
right,
sharing music, we're all trying to be cool,
right,
but aquí traes tus mamadas, like get the fuck away from here, like I don't need that shit.
When I started the page, my intentions were to keep the culture alive, which I'm still trying very hard to do without skipping a beat. But I also would notice in the beginning how people would just go in there just to clown on pictures and videos. And these are the same people that grew up in that era. It's not the young ones.
Yeah.
The young ones are like, oh shit, like my mom would talk to me about that, or my uncle would talk to me about that, or I would see my uncle dress up to go to a rave or to a warehouse party. And we got these guys our ages, clowning the females, hey tias, or, saying disrespectful things. And I had enough. Why? Because my mom raised me that you're not supposed to disrespect a female.
Right.
I was raised by a female. I have daughters. I wouldn't want anybody, if she posted a picture of herself, people clowning on her. And
Shit, I'll
so,
clown on myself, but like, I don't
right,
want,
like
you know, strangers.
if it's humorous enough where it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like you're making fun of somebody, I'll leave it.
Yeah.
But it starts getting old. You
Yeah.
know, whose tia's that? Or they're all grandmas now. Okay, yeah, we're all at that age where a lot of us are grandpas and a lot of us are grandmas. So what?
Yeah.
A lot of us look healthy and good enough more than this new generation does.
Mhm.
We still have that heart of our soul alive because of the music, because of what we had back in the 80s and 90s. And so that's why I put up there. I said, I anybody that disrespects anybody doesn't. I don't care if it's family member. You're gonna get blocked.
Yeah, it's more
And,
like,
and to them, excuse me. And to them, they're like, I don't care. There's other pages. Fine, then go to those other pages. But you're gonna respect my page,
right.
regardless. And so, and you got a few of the new generation saying, oh well, you're uh, exposing these teenagers. You're showing how graphic they were back then. No, I'm showing how live and how they enjoy life, and they weren't worried about social media because it didn't exist.
Right.
Our events were the social media, our flyers were social media. You had choices. Do I go to this event or do I go to this event? And so it's a lot, man. It's a lot of you have to hold back because now they can cancel you right away.
So a couple things on that. We had Live magazine and all the other magazines, so there was
Right.
that too.
Right.
Like, you wanted to be on the magazine, you wanted to
Right,
be in the
right,
pictures.
right.
So they took pictures for a reason. The girls went to the mall for a reason.
Right.
The girls had their cameras for a reason. So it's like, I'm not exposing anything that they didn't want otherwise, and they are the ones that are sending it to me anyways to post.
Exactly.
It's not like I'm finding these pictures somewhere and then posting them, right?
Right.
They're sending them in.
Right.
And the other thing is what you said, oh, well, other pages don't do it. Well, then go to that page, because at the end of the day, this is my fucking magazine.
Right.
You're subscribing to my shit.
Right.
This is my page. These are the rules. These are the boundaries. And if you want to go to a page that maybe necessarily doesn't have the best intention, or it's not good vibes only always, then so be it. Like, it doesn't hurt me. Like, hey, go on your merry way. That's who you are.
Right.
But I don't want that here.
There's a page that started before mine, and I give her a lot of props for it, man. She opened up this avenue where other people can put their opinion in perspective and open up their pages and create their own things. Then a couple years after her, I came along in 2017 and started doing my page. But I never expected for the page to blow up like it did. My page is very, very different, bro. The page that came before mine is solely based off of the party scene. Party crews and raves and all that stuff. Mine is based off of everybody that was involved in the 90s. And I guess that's what a lot of people can relate to the page, and a lot of people gravitate towards that page, because I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's all about party crews, ravers, housers, and let's exclude everybody else. Because that's not how it was in the 90s. Everybody was a part of it, whether you were a gangster, whether you were a tagger, whether you were a goth, whether you were a rockero.
Darks.
Yeah, it didn't matter. You were part of the 90s. You had your own house parties. And you had your own events, and then some of them would just clash. And because we were a product of our own environment. So we ended up doing that. And somebody had said a few days ago on their page that it's also based off of the party scene era, that the party crews and the parties were being, it was a part of a political thing.
I saw that and I'm like,
so
what?
I'm here to tell you, and this is my opinion, my personal opinion, but I know that a lot of people are. It had nothing to do about what happened in the '60s or the '70s. It had nothing to do because the school system failed us. We it was simply because a lot of us, a lot of people didn't want to be a part of a gang. They wanted an outlet to go have fun. We didn't have the after school programs were only for elementary kids and a few junior high kids, and a lot of us just wanted to have fun, and it didn't matter if it was doing school hours or not. It had nothing to do about being political about anything. It started getting political after it started affecting our parents when Prop 187 came along.
What was that one?
It was when they wanted deport all kinds of deport the illegals, and it was a big deal. But then again, we used that excuse to go out of the school and protest, and it was an excuse. It was a legal excuse to protest because it was for our parents. So, in my personal opinion, it had nothing to do about what happened in the '60s and what the school being not giving us the education we wanted. That's why we didn't stay there. No, we wanted to have fun.
Could it be that for some people it was that?
First, I'm not saying, I'm not going to sit here and say that some people didn't feel that way. Of course,
Sure.
you have your few, but they made it seem like that's what it was for everybody.
Right.
And I'm here to tell you because I lived it. That wasn't it, bro. There was people wanted to go have fun. They wanted an outlet. They didn't want to be a part of the gang life. Which is ironic because even a lot of the gangsters didn't want to be a part of the gang life and they ended up being a part of the party scene. But then it made a whole U-turn and ended up being back to what we were trying to avoid.
The tendencies stayed.
Right.
It's not only was there, let's say, maybe no after school programs, but you had parents that were working 2 jobs, 3 jobs that couldn't be there. So then now you had all this free time.
Right.
And then the parents that maybe did work, they didn't have the resources to put a kid into an actual program, right? Like it costs money. Like if you want to play, let's say, a club soccer, for example, that costs a lot of fucking money.
Right.
And so the parents didn't have the money. And then the ones that maybe you don't have the money, but then they didn't have the time to take the kid. So for us, dude, my dad had me like in 3 soccer teams at once. And then my brother Diego played soccer, my brother Mike played soccer, and then my dad was a coach.
Right.
So andaba correteando like everywhere. But this is like in middle school, right? I wasn't even in high school yet. But he was like running around everywhere just trying to make sure that his kids were busy and occupied. Like even in elementary school, my mom would fucking go to school and tell the teachers, I need him to get extra homework. She would ask for extra homework. She would ask for physical assignments. She would put me in summer school when I didn't need to be in summer school. Like she wanted us to be not necessarily smart because they weren't always focused on the academic side,
but
to get occupied.
Right.
Like she needed to work. He needed to work. When they found that time that they came together, but I need to just put them to work.
Right. And there were some parents too that allowed for the kids to this school, and even allowed to have DPs. Oh, you know what? I'd rather let them have a ditching party at the house, because I know they're safe,
right?
And but other than that, as for political reasons, no. The political reasons came afterwards. Even during the riots, bro. The week of the riots, there was an event on Friday and Saturday, and people went.
See, I remember being I want to say 12 or 13. And we used to play soccer. My brother played on a team. And that kid, his name's Hugo, had an older sister.
Right.
And that girl was dating a dude. Right. So older sister, and then she was dating an older guy. That older guy, I remember his name's Alex. Alex from the DOGs. And then, again, I was a kid, dude, 12, 13 years old. He's a grown man. You know what I mean? And I see him with, like, tattoos. And I see him wearing the wife beater. And I see him wearing, I remember, black Levi's. And I see him wearing the brown Harleys. And the chain wallet. And I'm like, the fuck is this, like a Paisa James Dean, like Hispanic James Dean, like, you know, Pedro Infante, like,
right.
I love that shit, dude. And then came around, his cousin was Hooters from the Dogs.
Right.
Big dude, man, all tatted. So I'm a kid and it's impressionable.
Right.
It was impressionable to me. And I think I was in elementary or sixth grade
Right.
seeing these grown ass men. And so when I came into the, let's say, the scene, or it was during that age where I would be around them and we'd wrestle with them, play with them, you know, these older guys. But I went to high school, I think it's 98.
Right.
So at no fucking point whatsoever was it political. Like none of my friends, none of the party crews that I hung out with at that time, whether it's like the Dogs, TYO, Stray Cats, like you just name a bunch of them, none of them were like Viva la Raza, Revolucion,
Right.
like fuck.
Right.
None of it. It was all where the bitches at, like
Right.
where the parties at, where's the music at,
Right.
like let's go have a good time. So when I saw that post, I commented on there like I didn't know I was like ditching school to be the next Che Guevara.
Right.
Like I don't know what he's talking about, but again, maybe it was for some people.
Right.
But I knew a lot of people in the scene, and absolutely like zero people were about that. So
the thing is that once you put something out there, and you have other people that never really partied, and they start listening to that, then it becomes a fact for them.
they're like, "Oh yeah,"
And it takes the real story behind what really happened. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I could go in there and say, you know, oh, gangbanging started because, you know, moms didn't know how to cook. And a guy who never gangbanged in his life might believe that shit.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, but the people who live that life, they're like, bro.
They sent that video to me. Like a lot of people, they were just sharing it with
Yeah,
me.
they shared it with me too. Like, and I have nothing but respect for a homeboy from that page. Nothing but love
Well,
for him.
I have no idea who he
Yeah,
is, and I
yeah.
don't mean it in a bad way
Yeah,
either.
no.
I just
And we're having this conversation because it needs to be talked about, because I was from the scene, and I seen it from when it was a house party to when it was a party crew, to when from a party crew to a gang, then from a gang to people didn't want to do house parties anymore, so they went clubbing. So everything changed, you know, but it ended up being the same. It made a full circle because it ended up where we try to avoid. It's being in a gang, you know, and a lot of innocent people passed away that weren't gang related. They got shot, you know, because they went to a house party or a rave or this and this and this and that, man. And I always post something about them, about the dead, who they got to have their flowers, man, because they went out there, man. They wanted to have a good time, and they were innocent bystanders as well, man. And so
I remember going to a lot of parties, and it was fun, man. I remember we left this party. It was a house party, and fight broke out. Obviously, we all get in the truck, book it, and the Doors was playing. They take me on to the other side, blasting. Cops are coming this way, and we're leaving, right? And so that started to happen too often.
right,
Like too often, where it got to the point where it's like exactly what you said. It started to turn into gangs.
right.
It started to turn into like, hey, we're not here for the girls now. We're not here for friends.
We're looking here to fight.
We're looking here to fight. Like,
Yeah.
like who's here? You start hitting people up. Like, where are you from?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, the fuck? What do you mean where I'm from, dog? Like, I'm not. I don't bang, dog. You know, like that's not what I do.
Right,
But I started to see a lot of my friends and a lot of my friends that were all associated with party crews, like a certain section of them started to be that.
right,
And that's where I didn't like. Like that's where it was just getting like that's not what I ever wanted.
right,
You know, you see the gangsters, you know, it's like, okay, these guys are gangsters or, you know, from whatever neighborhood or whatever. It's like, okay, I'm cool with them, but I don't go to gangster parties. But then you start going to the flyer parties and you start seeing more and more. And then now it wasn't just, you know, let's say gangsters, it was like groovers that were in a party crew, rebels that were in a party crew, like legit gangsters that were in a party crew from the
Right.
same party crew.
right.
And so then that's when the guns start coming out.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you real quick, George. Have I've been on the streets or in the streets since '87, and so from '87 to '89, 90 tops. I it was the gang life. I went to juvenile hall to East Lake. When I came out, my cousin was like, "Hey, bro, stop hanging around with those people, man. You're gonna end up dead or in jail." And he was like, "Why don't you come hang around with me?" And I go, "Well," and he had a hat, and the hat said invasion. And I'm like, "What the fuck is that, man?" He goes, "Oh, it's a party crew." The fuck is a party crew? It's a bunch of us, man, that don't want to be a part of anything, and we just want to have fun. And we go to parties, we go to ditching parties and all that stuff, and well, fuck it, let me go. So he introduced me, and I still remember it was sometime in September, and of 1990 something, 91, I think, and I go there. It's on First and Vermont. There's a Little Caesars, a donut shop, and that like a little parking
How old are
thing.
you?
I was 16 on that time. And so I met I met about 5 or 6 of them, and my little brother, was in juvenile hall. He didn't get out until 2 years later, and so my no, I apologize. He had just gotten out as well, so we both ended up going there, and he introduced us to about 5 or 6 of them. They all had invasion, invasion, invasion. I'm like, they're like, "Oh, we're a party crew. We're one of the first Central American party crews." I'm like, "Oh shit, okay." And I go, "So how do you get in? Do you get jumped in or what?" And he was like, "No, no, no, it's nothing like that, bro. You go to 3 parties. Once you go to 3 parties with all of us, then you get your hat. You get your hat that says invasion. You put your nickname." So they were like, "Well, what do you want to be called?" And so at that time they would call me Triste. And, Triste. Oh, that sounds too gang like.
Yeah.
So one of the guys said, "We're gonna call him Sandman because you're a big dude. We're gonna call you Sandman." I said, "Cool." I didn't think nothing of it. And one of the homeboys were like, "No, no, a este cerote le vamos a poner El Grande." Right? So I'm like, El Grande, sounds good, all right. So they started calling me El Grande. And when I went there was a big ass event on 62nd and Western. It was a big ass warehouse. There was a party crew called Hellraisers. And the LA Hellraisers, because there was two. There was Southgate Hellraisers and there was LA Hellraisers. And they didn't get along. Because Southgate Hellraisers were really about partying and having a good time. LA Hellraisers were snappers. And so anyways, they were celebrating their anniversary. I go in there, bro, and I see everything was packed, bro. And they had an upstairs, and you had the strippers dancing, and you had the male strippers dancing upstairs. And then you had the DJs playing, bro. And I was like, fuck.
And you're 16?
And yeah, and I'm
It's
looking.
impressionable, right?
I'm looking at this, and they're all dancing, and they're all dressed fashionable. It's like, how do they get these clothes? And until now, till recently, I found out, hey, we went to the fucking thrift store.
Mm.
Because back then, a pair of bell bottoms were like 60, 80 bucks, bro. So they would go to the thrift stores and grab whatever they could, and that's how they became groovers and ravers and all that stuff, and candy kids and club
Did you ever
kids.
wear bell bottoms?
I did, bro.
Oh shit! Where are the pictures at?
I'll show them. I'll show them. So it was a pair. My mom couldn't afford them because they were expensive. So she goes, "Look, I'm gonna buy you. Vamos a ir al Zodi's. Y ahí te voy a comprar 3 pares de pantalones. Te van a salir como $30. I go, "No, Mom, I want those bell bottoms." And we were at the Glendale Galleria.
Uh-huh.
And she looked at me and she saw that I really wanted them. Because I was already wearing Dickies and Cortez, but they told me you can't come out like that.
Yeah.
You have to change. There's Jinkos. I didn't know what the fuck Jinkos were. And so my mom got me those pants. We didn't eat for like about a few days, bro, but she got me those pants. Tell me why I didn't take off those pants. I had those pants on for 2 months straight.
The bell bottoms?
The bell bottoms. And I tried to let my bangs grow.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I have a picture. I'll show it to you privately.
Fernando Vargas over here.
It looked hella funny, bro. It looked like I had a bunch of little baby pigs with the curled tails. straight like that, bro. I was like, hell no. So, I tried to do that, but that wasn't me.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
And the rest of the guys were like, look, bro, just be you.
Yeah.
Just know that we're not, well,
We're not about that.
yeah. And so, but I already had that mentality. So if I saw anybody disrespecting any of my friends, I would jump quick.
Yeah.
And so then Invasion got really big, bro, because you had Invasion. It was Invasion. It was Cipotes. It was Vichos.
Really?
Hellraisers, 8 Ball Production. It's a bunch of party crews that were Central Americans. And you had these other Mexican party crews that would press on the rest of the party crews. There was a party crew called Chapines that became a gang. There was a party crew called Trachos that became a gang afterwards. And anyway, so my first event that I did was in 1993. It was called Bloody Birthday.
Like that you actually hosted?
That I did,
Yeah.
It was October 11th, 1993. And what I did was I went to the video store, I cut off the cover of Bloody Birthday, and I went to a printing shop, and they put all the information there and made a bunch of flyers. I made like 1,000 flyers. At that time was $50. And we passed them out, and I must have spent like $200, and that day I made $1,500.
Oh shit!
Tell me why I spent the whole $1,500 at Tommy's. I invited everybody at Tommy Burgers, bro.
I thought you were gonna get you some new bell bottoms.
Nah, right? I was so excited that everybody, let's eat.
Yeah, there you go.
I went home with some money, but
yeah,
and of course at that time it's like, here, mom.
Yeah.
To me, having money in my pocket wasn't a big deal. Because to me at that time, even when I had my first relationship that actually was living with me, I would still give my paychecks to my mom.
Yeah.
Because I felt that was my responsibility until I realized, like, wait, I have to take care of my bills. So, I'm going to keep my check, but give you some of my money,
Yeah.
And at that time, my mom was like, oh, I'll take care of the bills. Don't even trip about it, but here's $40 for you. And I didn't see a big deal about it until I got older. But anyways, from 91 to about 95, it was all love, man. It was all party crew stuff. But late 95 is when shit started getting worse for everybody. We came out on the LA Times. Invasion came out on the LA Times because we threw an event called Skittles. And there was beef between two party crews, Unforgiven and 8 Ball. And, one guy got into it with the other guy, and they ran out, and the guy was about to shoot him on his, to his back, and the guy turned around and shot him right in the eye in front of everybody.
Oh shit!
And we ran up to the guy, and he was trying to survive, bro. We seen when his soul left his body, and then we came out on the front page of the LA Times saying that the party crew scene just got out of hand, and everybody had their hats backwards, and it said Invasion. And they took a lot of us in, they let a lot of us go, and then it because of what had happened, he didn't get arrested. He got arrested, but they released him, self-defense.
Yeah.
And so that was a hard one for that party crew to swallow.
A realtor friend of mine, his son is sick with cancer. And so he asked me, he's like, hey man, could you do a Wonder Woman, the 1984 one? And so I did, and I painted it for him, and he gave it to his son. It's yeah, I like it. I like painting. So,
you can tell because of the smile you just had right now.
it's fun, man. It's fun. It's just like this, just like what you and I are doing last night. What I was working on was on a video, and I'm doing like edits, cuts, color grade, audio, music, and it's just art for me. It's like it's creating, right? And if you actually create a good video, like for me, I'm not creating. It's funny. I've said this before. Like I don't care about the fucking likes, comments. Like it doesn't make me a better person, lesser person. Doesn't offend me. Doesn't hurt me.
Right.
I just lost 135,000 followers. All I did was just like I was here in my office. And I'm like, okay. Anyways, And then I just went on about my day. My mom asked me yesterday, she's like, hey, ¿perdiste todos los seguidores? I'm like, yeah. And she goes, ¿y qué vas a hacer? I'm like, nothing. You know, just keep going about my day. It's not like it pays me. It's not my
Right.
job. But like, what the fuck? Like, I appreciate the followers. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support and all that stuff. But it's not the real world. It's what I always tell people. Quit focusing on social media. It's not the real world. What matters is the gut to gut, the people you love, the people you
Right.
encounter. Like I can lose every single account. That doesn't matter to me. Like the genuine conversations that I have with people I meet, that's the most important piece.
That's what you take with you.
You know, I can't, again, you pass away, you can't take your followers with you. There's a video that I saw yesterday. This guy, Sean Cannell, now I know his name because I fucked it up last time. He said that there was a social media conference, big TikTok personality. She has like 1 million followers, something like that. She did a meetup. 0 people showed up to her meetup. So he was saying, he goes, like, the TikTok content is like you don't have that big of a relationship necessarily with your audience. But maybe like the YouTube content where you start diving deeper, where you have podcasts or your people get to know you a little bit more, that's where you're creating relationships.
Right.
And so I was thinking, I'm like, yeah, that's what I lost. Like I lost a lot of followers, that the ones that did end up following me on Instagram or that have transferred over to, let's say, the YouTube, are the ones that really want to fuck with me. And then the other ones, maybe they just hit the follow button. So it's more about quality versus quantity. I'll go viral again. You know, we'll go viral. It just happens. I
Yeah.
never tried. Um, but it's art at the end of the day. It's an artistic outlet.
Yeah. As for me, I love to write poems.
Oh, do you?
I've been doing them since I was a young kid.
Oh,
That's
you know
my
what? Do you
outlet.
mind closing the door? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's it's an outlet for me, and so I could go days and days writing stuff.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
I was at a point. I was in a dark place, a dark place, and I couldn't see no light. And I wrote something, and I had read it to somebody, and that person was like, "Bro, you need help. Yes, deep, you know." And so I'll share it with you one day. But it was so dark and deep that it also affected that person, and didn't realize it. I needed to hear that too because I just didn't know how to express it. But I'm going through the same thing you're going through, but you said it for me, and it helped that person too. And I feel that when you love something and you do it not because of likes or not because of followers, but because you intentionally care for what you do, that's what expands it. Sorry. When I created the page, like I said,
But how did you, so like sorry to interrupt, but like how did you get to that point where you said like what was your thought process? Like did you have a thought process of like creating the page, like you had a personal one and then all of a sudden you wanted to create this
yeah, my
page?
personal one, Mr. Biggs 213. I've had it since 2012,
Okay.
and normally I don't post anything. I only post positive posts, or I post my kids. Um, in 2015, I saw that there
And
was
Instagram's been around for that long?
yeah,
2012?
yeah, but it wasn't as famous as it was. It didn't hit
Okay.
as it until afterwards, until people got tired of Facebook.
Mm.
So in 2015, I saw this page and I fell in love with that page. I'm like, damn, like this is from back in the 90s, man. I love it. And then I said, can I submit some pics, from my personal? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. So I send them. Actually, there's 2 pages that they own. On one of the pages, I sent a picture of my twin sons because they had the White Sox outfit, and they were only like 2 years old. So it looked really cute, and it went viral on that one. So then on the other page was nothing but the party cruise and the party scene. So I sent pictures out to that, and they wouldn't post them. I'm like, well, what's going on? So, I would hit him up and, hey, what's going on? And so one day they replied and I said, look, my crew didn't get along with your crew 20 years ago.
No mames.
I'm like, okay, it's 20 years ago. So, you're representing all of us that were in the party scene. So even if we didn't get along, you're supposed to represent us too. We're part of the scene and we were deep. Well, if you feel that way, then you should create your own page.
What the fuck?
And they told me, I guarantee it won't last you 3 months. So, I took some time, like, I,
But how did that hit for you? Like for someone to say that, what was your thought when they said
well, in the
that?
beginning, I didn't care. Like, fuck this punk. Like my mentality was still street mentality.
Mm,
You know, I had matured, but not enough to let it go.
yeah.
So I said to myself, how can I beat this shit? Show them our side. Because it was mostly Montebello, East LA, San Gabriel Valley, and really wasn't expanding on Orange County. It wasn't expanding on Rampart District, on the Westlake District, on our side, on the west side. Because there was party crews all the way up to even, to the valley, to the west, everywhere.
Van a las tierras donde al fin podré de nuevo respirar adentro y hondo, alegrías del corazón. Ajá.
The
So,
Bay
but they
Area.
were so focused on just that side that it took away from everything, bro. Like, come on, the party crews weren't just there; they were everywhere.
So it's not like you're doing the party crew scene, you're doing your scene.
No,
No,
but
like them, like that
so I was
page.
doing so then I decided, but they were so focused on that they forgot about the taggers, the skaters,
Right.
everybody else. So I said, you know what, I want to do something, and so I was thinking, what should I do, man? And I kept thinking and thinking. I said, house parties, yeah, house parties of the '90s. Nah, that doesn't sound to me. That doesn't sound good. I said, how house parties in the '90s? All right, let me do that. And then I go, but my house parties in the '90s is gonna include everybody, and I'm gonna have a lot of haters because they would always say gangsters fucked up the party scene, and in reality, it was all of us. Everybody contributed to the failure of the party crew scene, and so I said, okay, let me post the first picture. And the first picture I posted was about flyers. This was our social media, and it grabbed a lot of people's attention. Then I remember, and a big shout out to DJ High C714 Carlos. He still follows the page. He does a lot of the events, man. We collaborate a lot, man. He sent me a bunch of pictures,
Oh, okay.
and he goes, "Hey, post these, man. I used to be from a party crew called Vandals." All right. Then after him, it was this other girl. She sent me pics, and people kept sending me pics. And by the end of the month, I had 1,000 followers. And then 3 weeks later, I had 2,000, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. So that other page saw that I had the same pictures that page had, but never cared to ask who sent you those pictures.
Oh, they didn't ask.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So the other page. So they started saying, "Oh, well, he's going to my page, taking the pictures from there, and then making them his," which till now I realize, bro, these people, the followers can go wherever they want. They can send their pictures to whoever they want.
Right.
And so that's what was happening. The same people that were on that page saw the new page, so they wanted to expose their pictures on the new page as well. And so, I would always tell it, everybody's welcome. So not only did I post party crew pics, but I post taggers, gangsters, goth, everybody. And so people were like, damn, this page is different, And so that's how I started, bro. And 122,000 followers later, here we are, COVID hit. And when COVID hit, how do we entertain the people that are home every day? They're gonna get tired of watching pictures every day. How do we do it? So I know this cat who was from Invasion and then he got out before Invasion started gangbanging. His name is DJ Eddie One. you know, and everybody, you know, he's on the radio station, very famous cat. And he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, Biggs, what's up, man?" Or, "Hey, Grande, what's up?" And I'm like, "What's up?" He goes, "Hey, let's do a live stream." What the fuck is a live stream? He goes, "Just give me your password. I get on your page and I do a mix." Okay. And so he had done an event when he was from Invasion called The Adventures of Arrow the Acrobat. So he goes, "I want you to do a flyer that says Return of the Arrow the Acrobat." So I did the flyer, little Mickey Mouse flyer, and he was the first one to do a live stream on my page. And he was the first one to call the second event, the second stream that we did, Quarantine Garden.
This time, it's war.
Yeah, and so after him, everybody else started using it, and then now, you know, certain people say that they were the first one, but it was actually Eddie One who did it on house parties in the 90s.
You know,
The live stream, yeah.
It's funny when people try to take credit for other shit, and I don't know. I guess it just doesn't bother me. But it's like you must really not value yourself. Like you're calling yourself the one that, you know, did Quarantine Gardens, or the one that's saying, "Oh, you're getting the pictures from this person." It's
Right.
like, no, dude. Like, why are you hating? Like, you shot me down first. I stopped my page, and now you're hating on my shit.
Yeah.
I've had people literally. So, like, back in the day, I wrote my bio for what I do for a living.
Right.
One of the things was I didn't want to have like a default bio of me or our mission.
Right.
So I sat down there, pen and paper, and I wrote out, you know, as a mortgage planning firm, blah, 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 like everything that I wanted to be able to convey to my clients. And it's funny because people have literally, I mean, I'm not joking, dude, copy and paste. Even my name is under their profile because all they did was just copy paste my shit because it sounds really good.
Right,
and they
right.
put it on their profile. And I'm like, and people have asked me, like, "Hey, doesn't this like piss you off?" I just don't think they see value in themselves.
Right.
You know, like if I see them, like I'll call them out on it, but not in a negative way. But I'm like, "Yo, man," it's like, "Your name's George Merlos?" Like, just so they know that I fucking know.
That you already know, right?
It's like, dude. But it's cool when people come together for a good cause, where you're inviting everybody,
Right.
where you're just saying like, "Hey, man, everyone's welcome. Share your shit. Like, let's all hang out and let's reflect on our fun times when we were young."
Right.
And now the lives that I see, man, the first USB that I've ever bought in my damn life of any kind of music is one of your DJs, DJ Isaac. DJ Isaac and Canner, right?
And his dad, yeah.
His dad.
The nephew, DJ Isaac. Big shout out to him, man. He started a few months ago, man. And look at where he's at now. But that's because of what his parents
Instilled in him.
Yeah.
And he sent it because like he had his little sticker in the envelope. He had a little thank you card. And in my mind, I'm thinking, that's dope, man. Because as you can see on my desk right now, there's thank you cards. Like on the left hand side, there's a bunch of thank you cards, handwritten thank you cards that I do all the time. People don't send thank you cards. People don't send handwritten letters. So the fact that he included on there, even though it may have just been like, I don't know who the fuck I'm sending this to, but I'm going to do it. It's a personal touch that is missing.
Right. From the COVID time to where we're at right now, you know, we entertained a lot of people, man, during the COVID. And a lot of people passed away during the COVID that were following us. So we always gave them a shout out. And I always paused and I always did lives on my own. I did personal lives and I would talk about the people. There was people that committed suicide because they couldn't stand the fact that they were home every day, you know? So, and out of the request of the families, I couldn't say their names. But, you know, I always gave them a shout out to let them know that, you know, we're thinking about them and stuff like that. And so once the whole COVID was almost done. That's when we decided to do events. My first event, I did it a month before COVID hit. It was February 15th, 2019. And then COVID hit April, March or April, the same
19?
20. Yeah, I'm sorry, 20. So yeah, 2 months later, April, they shut everything down. So I was one of the first ones to even get COVID, and I almost didn't make it. But again, doing the live streams, then everybody started doing live streams. So a lot of people were watching different live streams, but they would always watch us the most because we have an incredible lineup of DJs, bro. Like, god damn, like it just leaves you at awe how these DJs just, and they would go for hours. Perfect example, DJ Mowdy. He would do Friday nights at the arena because he used to play at the arena. So he would start at 8 p.m. and he wouldn't finish till 5 in the morning.
What?
Yeah. And you would have 400 or 500 people watching.
That's crazy.
He did that every Friday and every Saturday.
You know what, man? Honestly, I had not heard that music, like deep house music, Latin house.
Right.
I had not heard that music in such a long time. Because I have my playlist,
Right.
My things on my playlist, but until I found your page, or you found me, or I don't know how we found
I
each
think I
other.
found you on TikTok
Okay,
because I had just opened. I just did the page on TikTok, and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to,
compete or do both.
or do Instagram and TikTok because it's totally different people,
Yeah,
bro.
totally different people.
And they're it's just very different people. But a lot of those people don't have Instagram
Mm-hmm.
or don't want Instagram, and so they feel safer at TikTok. And then, but here we are. We're almost at 32,000
Mhm.
followers. And it just keeps growing and growing and growing. But now it's the younger generation on TikTok that's following the page.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like that music, because it's not played on the radio ever,
Right.
right? Or even like flashbacks or K Rock. I did an OMD. Yeah. No, OCD.
OMD.
OMD.
Yeah.
I did an OMD dance. Well, the one I just
Yeah,
did yesterday.
electricity.
Yeah. And so, like, I remember the first. So like, seeing those early rebels that like when I was like 12 or 13,
Right.
like Alex and Hooters. And then in around 7th or 8th grade, we moved, and one of my neighbors was a rebel. No. This was 8th grade. During middle school, I had friends that were rebels, and like older brother, a friend's older brother. His name was Abel, and Abel always had the bell bottoms. My dad didn't let me wear any of that shit, bro. Any of it. So I would always go to school wearing my clothes, and then Emmanuel Romo, he would get me his brother's clothes or his clothes so I could change.
Right.
But the first time that I heard Morrissey, the Smiths, like Flashback, K Rock, and actually had my music versus overhearing it was like summer of 8th grade, like going into freshman year.
Okay.
And starting to see like the flyer parties, right? The first time I went to a flyer party, I was in 6th grade. I was 13, like at a nightclub, like looking at girls like up on the go-go cages. So I had already been around it for a long time, but
Right.
that music, man, that music from way back then. And my dad inadvertently would listen to that music, like Café con Leche, because it's kind of like tropical.
Right.
So, and he had a little lowrider with a little system in it.
Right.
So when I saw your page or when I started seeing this shit, I'm like, oh fuck, I haven't heard this music in so long.
Right.
And it's amazing.
It is, man. Music hits the soul, man. Music changes everything. Look, DJ Isaac is a perfect example. If he didn't hear that music around his house or by through his mom and dad, big shout out to them. I don't think he'll be playing that. He'll be playing that Bad Bunny stuff and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because he's a young man with an old soul.
Yeah.
If you sit down and talk to him, you'll learn a lot from him.
Yeah.
And so I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud of what he accomplished in so little. And you're gonna have your little, OG haters, throwing stuff at him, but it doesn't phase him. And then you have a lot of OGs that are like, look, take this route, do this, give him some pointers, and he's learning. He's learning from both. And you got to give him his credit, man, because he knows how to attract the people when he does his live.
Yeah.
He doesn't just sit there and mix.
Personality.
Yeah, he brings them. He brings the people towards him, and I think that's why he's getting this big following. And every time he does a live on house parties, he's always over 100. Back then, man, if you had 600, oh man, people were watching. If you had under 40, then it's time to turn it off. But he's always managing to go from 80 to 100 all the time.
Yeah.
And so,
what other DJs do you have on the page right
we
now?
have we have 3 OGs: DJ Mowdy, Killer Noise, and Flavor. DJ Flavor he's one of the OGs from back in the day, man. So big shout out to them. We have DJ XS, DJ Fig One. We now have DJ Emerald, beautiful young lady, very talented. We also have Power Search and Wicked E. And every DJ has their own personality when they mix.
And all these DJs, they're doing like TikTok, Instagram, Twitch.
They all have their personal. They all have their and DJ Just Freddy, just in case. DJ DJ
And if we
Just
forgot
Freddy,
anybody else, then
yeah,
it's
blame
too
it on me.
early,
I'm
all right?
48 years old, bro. I forget things. But yeah, I mentioned all of them. They all have their individual usernames, and they all have their individual gigs sometimes. But when we do our events, especially at Stage in Whittier, which is 2 rooms, I use all of them. They all come and they play on both rooms. Uh, um, some people say, "Why don't you get headliners?" Those are my headliners. We had them all. When on all the live streams, we had them all. The only one we haven't had yet is Richard Humpty Vision. Big shout out to him though. But we've had Irene, we had Henry, we had Tony B, we have my brother Jungle George, my brother Josh Bliss, the homie CO1. We had them all. Baker Boys. Big shout out to the Baker Boys. And big shout out to the DJs that came before, that were part of house parties before these guys.
2,000 pounds of fat Mexican power.
Hey, Mallorca!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's the Baker Boys. House parties in the 90s.
Muévelo, que sabrosa. Muévelo.
Yo, boleros are the shit.
J-Rod, we had Rec One, we had Luis Smooth, we had a bunch of DJs, DJ Javi. We had them we had another DJ called DJ Wicked also. And, they came before.
Like the current.
Yeah, the current ones. But the ones who stayed and still holding up strong is Mowdy, Flavor, and Killer Noise.
You know what, man? Like when I go to a party and like I just went to an event. I'm not gonna say what event is because then I'll tell you later.
Right.
But anyways, I went to an event and I'm like, man, I wanted to punch the DJ, bro. I'm like, the music went from John Denver to then like techno house, and I'm like, oh, oh, dude, I want to punch this guy, get them the fuck off. Like, it sucks so bad, dude. The people at my table were like, what is wrong with this DJ?
Right.
And then he had a playlist, right? Then he would leave, then he had a playlist. And it was just, it was bad. And so when I host events, right, for charity, I always bring my DJ, which is Love Connection. Now it's Love Connection. It used to be Louis Love. Shout out, Louis Love.
Big shout out to Louis Love.
And so the reason I always bring him or personal events or anything like that is he's playing the rock en español. He's playing the flashbacks. He's playing the house music. Like he'll drop in like some top 40 like really quick.
Right.
And then he'll go back to just like dope ass music. Like, the trance stuff, like I can hear one song, but I don't want to hear trance for a whole hour.
Right.
Like I want trance for like 5 minutes, then you drop in some Lobo Hombre en Paris, and then some Soda Stereo, Maná, and then like it's a party.
Right. And that's how we try to maintain it.
Yeah.
Some people are like, oh, you're putting too much freestyle, too much high energy.
Or that disco. Disco.
Louis loves
disco.
Energy. Yeah. It played in the 90s, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna put techno and hard house and house, because that's not what house parties in the 90s was. Mm-hmm. They played a little bit of everything. We played rock en español, we played new wave, we played K-rock.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's not it's the party scene. If you didn't enjoy none of that music, you weren't part of the party scene, bro. There was no such thing as EDM back in the day.
No.
You know what I mean? The deep house, the Latin house. My mom used to dance to A Mover la Colita by Artie the One Man Club. You know what I mean? All that music it's a reflection of our soul, bro. People don't. If you didn't live in the 80s and the 90s, then you didn't live at all, bro.
You know what was weird, man? Because I grew up in the IE, right? So I was when we first got here, I was in Reseda, Panorama City, so like the Valley,
right?
And then I think we went to Southgate, Surgate for a while, and then so we were out there for a bit of time, and then we came out here. And so it was in Rancho, there was not a lot of people in the scene. Very little rebels, little groovers. It was like people were into sports and after school programs, right. And Fontana going that way. Like, okay, yeah, because there's more Hispanic people.
Right.
So there were a lot of the party scene, most of the party scene, from what I recall, was Hispanic, Latinos.
Right.
So then you come to Rancho, everybody's white, Asian, black. So we stood like a sore fucking thumb. Like that's how we stood out. I remember my teachers would say like, "Oh, George Merlo's like the sharpest dressed kid in the school." It's not that I was wearing a fucking suit. It's that I was wearing a white shirt with the vest tucked in, belt buckle showing. Like I look like how I'm kind of dressed now.
Right. And to them, it was like you're dressed sharp.
You're dressed sharp. Like one of the pictures that I sent you, like when my hair is like fucking slick back. That was with the Aquanet, or one of the hairsprays that the girls would use. And then I, like hairspray, and then with the blow dryer, like that shit was just like ¿cómo se dice? Cabeza de casco. But I was wearing a suit, and I was wearing a button-up shirt, and the suit I think I got at the thrift store. My brothers and I, we'd always go to the thrift stores, not because it's vintage. It's motherfucker, that's what we could afford.
Right.
Like, we weren't rich, anything like that. So it was different because people would see us as different. Especially out here, we would be seen as an outcast. Like, what are these guys wearing like Harleys for? Or like the chain wallets. Now, if you went to a different high school, again, like where all the Hispanics were, then you would see that.
So it was normal.
No, not here. And even my I had cousins, friends that were, out from LA, and for them it was always like the Jordans. Like a different style of dress,
right?
And they would they call me, it's a pinche white boy. What are you doing? Like, what are you wearing? All these things. But again, I grew up watching Pedro Infante and all his movies of, dressing with his boots and
Right.
being on his motorcycle, or the Cantinflas, Resorte,
Or Tintan.
Tintan.
Tintan was a badass pachuco.
Yeah, so all these guys, and so for me, when I saw Rebels and I had a choice, like when I had a choice in middle school, because in middle school there was already groovers.
Yeah.
For me, there was groovers, greasers, skaters. As a kid, if I had a choice of what style would match what I would see myself as, it was always like rebel, like always like the boots,
Right.
always like John Travolta shit,
Right,
like
right.
Sylvester Stallone, like Lords of Flatbush, like Greaser style, Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
And then all the kids in school are wearing like tennis shoes, and obviously I've had a progression of different outfits. I went through like the pretty boy stage, but all those things that the page is posting reminds me of all that stuff that I honestly forgot about. And I wish I had more pictures. I wish.
Yeah, I wish you did.
Fuck, man. And so if there's any friends out there that have pictures of me, because a lot of girls, because girls are the ones that would take pictures, not guys.
Yeah.
Any girls out there have pictures, send them to Mr. Biggs or myself, because I definitely want to see them.
Yes, please. Send them to house parties in the 90s, and I'll make sure I'll post them. And I'll tag you, too.
Yeah. I used to go to the gas station with my friend after parties, like let's say after the weekend or whatever, to go look at the Live magazine. Like, oh, I want to know if I came out in the magazine.
Right.
And I look and like, oh, look, so-and-so is in this one. And because again, that was our social media.
Yeah.
Or the flyers were our social media.
Street Beat magazine, the OG social media magazine for the teenagers.
And for those of you guys don't know, like what were those magazines? Like
They were Marty Beat wanted to do something that would reflect on the party crew scene, and so he would post. He would take pictures of these female party crews and kind of lay out the information of where were they from, what city they were representing, what crew were they from, and it was very informative for us at that time. And everybody wanted to be a part of the Street Beat magazine. My crew came out, a bunch of crews came out. So big shout out to the Street Beat family, man, because that was our social media. We got to see a lot of people that we partied with, and so on and so on. And you have then you had another magazine that came out. I can't think of the name right now, but that one came out a little bit after Street Beat magazine, and but they were more club like. It wasn't no more party crew. It was more
they got into the nightclubs.
To the nightclub scene, the Carnaval in downtown LA, the Arena, Florentine Gardens, Jolt, all these other Peppers, Caddies, yeah, it just to me, when I post a picture or a video, like I just look at it like, damn, like if we could only go back one more time and relive it, And a lot of people always say that, they hit me up on a DM like, bro, I started following your page, and I, scrolled up and I seen a bunch of pictures. I connected with a lot of friends. But that page has connected a lot of people that haven't seen each other in 20, 30 years.
Bro, that girl that I'm in that picture with, I haven't connected with her or anything, but people have commented and sent me messages. Hey, that's so-and-so. She's a professional boxer now. Like, she's a professional MMA boxer.
No.
And I looked her up, and I'm like, oh, shit, she is. I forgot her name.
Right.
But yeah, she's a professional.
Look, it's funny, bro. I in my DMs, I get all kinds of DMs, and I'm
about to slide in right now.
they've said some crazy things, bro. Like, can you take that down? I'm a police officer now.
Yeah.
Or some political people that work for City Hall, Or they're like, you know what, that's my man.
Mm.
And I go, what's your name? Carlos. Like, okay. And so they would show me proof that their husband, but they don't. The other person just sends the picture without telling us that information too. And I tell them, look, I can't take off the picture because the owner wanted me to post it. Now, if the owner calls me or DMs me and tells me to bring it down, then I'll bring it down.
Yeah.
You know, I had women tell me the same thing. Hey, that's my lady. Can you take that picture down? Too many females are hitting her up.
Mm.
So I go, well, let your lady hit me up and I'll surely take it down. You know, and then there's some that, you know what, he passed away 2 months ago. So I take it down out of respect for that. And then there's some that like, hey, she passed away last week. We want her picture up there. And if you can post more of her, we would appreciate it because her family follows your page now. And this is the only memories they have. So, I mean, I hear it all.
It's gotta be tough to manage because again, knowing you on a personal level, you're a respectful guy.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. I don't fuck with people that aren't like the same wavelength. Like, you know what I mean? And so again, like the personal conversations that you and I have had, all the charity work that you guys have helped us with, like you have a good heart.
Thank you.
And so like when people tell you like take this off or they're instructing you, if you come at me the right way, like, hey, look, like this person sent it, like I can't every single time I get a message, I can't be taking everybody's shit off because you don't like it.
Right.
Like if this person owns a picture and this person sent it to me, but if this person requests it or if you want to hit them up, yeah, of course,
Yeah,
no
that's what I
biggie.
tell them. There was this young lady too from their party crew was called All Night Boy Toys.
Mm-hmm.
So this person from All Night Boy Toys, she sends me like 50 pictures of all the females from the crew. So I start posting them. So one of them that's in that picture comes out, you know, she DMs me and she says, you're sexualizing these minors. So first of all, these ain't minors no more. These are pictures from almost 30 years ago.
Right.
So if you're trying to get me that way, it's not gonna work. So, and I go first, and second thing, I said the owner approved me to post these pictures. She actually sent them to me. She owns these pictures. Now, if you have an issue with that, then you have to talk to her. And if she tells me bring it down, then I'll bring it down. So, well, you know, I'm gonna sue you and this and this and that. I have a lawyer. Okay, I have a lawyer too. You know, have him contact mine, and then we'll see what happens. She never contacted me anymore. People got to realize if you're gonna send a picture to get posted on Instagram, on any page, you're taking that risk of somebody criticizing you or giving you a compliment. And some people, women and men, can't take a criticism. So or can't take a compliment too. And I understand that, but if the owner of the picture tells me, you know, can you please bring it down, I will definitely bring it down. But if they contact me and say, hey, you, take that shit down. I'm in that picture and I don't want it up there. Then we're going to have an issue because I'm coming to you with respect and I expect it the same. And that also goes, man, look, with the whole charity thing too, and I just want to throw it out there too. When we started doing charity, like helping vendors and all that stuff, there was stuff that I had to learn myself that I didn't know because I didn't know how to do fundraising and all that stuff. I learned through the process, and you know, did I make a few mistakes here and there? Yeah, but I corrected them. And so once you do that, then you not only better yourself, but you better the fundraising, you better the people around you, and you start learning more of why these people need their help. You know, the first people we helped were the vendors. Then we started helping foster kids. A lot of the kids that are getting kicked out at 17 or 18 years old don't even have a personal hygiene bag for them. They just kick them out. So we started doing, you know, the whole house parties in the 90s family started collecting, you know, personal hygienes, toothbrushes, toothpaste, just the basic essentials, even toilet paper. Because these kids would get kicked out, they have nowhere to go, but at least they'll have something to brush their teeth or something, you know, if they have some type of interview, they could brush their teeth and put some deodorant on, some body spray, and that really touched us. So we did that for a couple of years. Then I said, you know what, let's do a toy drive. The first toy drive we did, we ended up getting 300 kids. And then last year we did 500 kids. And, we bought 50 boxes of pizza. And we didn't leave from there until the last toy got taken. And you should see their faces, bro. Like, fuck. And this is in my area, Westlake District. And the parents tell us, yeah, we're sometimes we're not at home, so these kids have nothing to eat because we're too busy working. So a slice of pizza that we give them is like it's the whole meal for the day.
Yeah.
And then or they're working enough to pay their bills, but not enough to buy them a present. So we let them choose what they want. And
What makes you want to do that?
my kids and my mom. My mom didn't have nothing. She wouldn't. All the money she would, get, it was to pay the bills. So she didn't have money for herself. But if she had $1 and we would go to downtown, she would give it to a homeless guy. And I would look at her and I'm like, why you don't have no money? She said, yeah, but he needs it more than I do. He goes, we still have beans and rice at the house. Don't worry about it. God's gonna provide, you'll see. Sure enough, 2 days later, my mom has $100. And she wouldn't brag about it. She would just go to the kitchen. She would always have her candles and she would always thank God. So then she passed that on to me. So every time I had money, she wouldn't tell me, hey, there's homeless people, help them out. It would just come naturally to me. So then I started doing that to my kids. So to my oldest child, to my youngest, they have money in their pocket and they see somebody suffering, they'll give it to them without me even, I don't even have to be looking and they'll do it. And I've always told them, never let your right hand know what your left hand is doing because that's not, you won't be blessed. You got to do shit from the heart. Once you do shit from the heart, all the blessings, they don't have to come to you personally, but they will come to your parents, to your kids. And that's a big blessing on its own. Like, I don't expect nothing from anything, as long as my kids are healthy and they succeed in life. That's all I want. Some people have more than me, some people have less than me. But the fact that I get to wake up every single day, bro, that's a blessing on its own. And the stuff that I've been through, the gang banging, the whole prison thing and all that stuff, that's a whole different story. And then, to be able to be 48, it's a blessing on its own, bro. Because I've lost so many friends due to a lot of, gang violence and even in the party scene. And you realize that we hit an age where we shouldn't be alive, but for some reason, God has me here and I'm going to continue to do, God's work. If I can to me, at the end of the day, when I'm done with all the toys, and I even tell her, I'm happy, this made my day. And a lot of my homeboys from back in the day, some of them like, bro, why you do it? And my other homeboy's like, oh, this is what he loves to do. He could fuck everything else up, but he'll never fuck this thing up because this is what he wants to do. And I'm going to continue to do it. And that's with little exposure. It's just the Instagram, And I've always asked for your advice because I feel that your advice is valid, bro. And I
Thank
don't
you.
ask a lot of people for advice. I like to do it on my own. But when I'm stuck, I end up calling you and I tell you, hey, bro, this is going on. What do you think I should do? Blah, blah, blah. And then you break it down to me. You don't have to, but it's in your heart to do so because you want the next man to succeed. And so I feel that, I've done wrong in my past. I'm no saint, but if I could give something positive and good to my community now, then I think I've paid a lot on earth. So when it's time for judgment day, God can say, oh, te voy a perdonar lo que hiciste abajo. You know what I mean? Because,
just bring me a pupusa when you come.
you know what I mean? So that's why I do it, bro. And so I love the fact of the stuff that you do. You have a passion for what you do, man. Not only from your job, but on a personal level, man, you really, really love to help out kids. And that doesn't make any man a wimp. That makes you a bigger man. If you have look, you don't even have kids, bro. You don't have kids, but you want to help them out. You know, bro, I didn't start having a backpack till I was 15.
You take a plastic bag or no? Or
I
just
would take
you
a plastic bag. You know what I mean? It would rain,
Uh-huh.
but my mom would make sure, because back then we would cover our books. Remember? We would cover our books so it wouldn't get messed up. Put them in a plastic bag, and I would take them in a plastic bag. It would rain, the bag would rip, get another bag.
Yeah.
Because my mom just couldn't afford it. And Zodi's, Woolworth, you could get backpacks for $2-3, but my mom just didn't have it.
That's the thing, man. Uh, we came here with nothing, right? We just didn't have shit.
Right.
And I saw my parents struggle, and I saw my parents try,
Right.
and I saw them give when they didn't have, like your mom. And it was never like a regaño, like you need to give or you need to give. It's like
Never.
I saw it from them.
Right.
I saw them do it.
Right.
I saw them like over and over help people when they needed help.
Right.
So that's admirable that your mom like had that dollar, and it's like you give up that dollar because you know what, we're good. We got beans and rice.
Yeah, I would look at her, dog. And so even she, my 23-year-old, she goes, Dad, I'm gonna give you some shoes for your birthday, some Nikes. Oh, actually,
These right here.
Right.
I was looking at them earlier. I'm like, oh, this is a cool man.
Right. So I'm gonna give you these Nikes, but Dad, don't give them to the homeless. Right. But because that's how I am, bro. Like if I see some guy without shoes and it's fucking hot outside or cold, I got a bunch of shoes at home. Why am I gonna be selfish and say, well, he'll figure it out? I'll take out my shoes, give it to him, and I'll drive home and put on the other ones. I don't care. So I was born without shoes. You know what I mean? Like I was walking around with Pro Wings for a long time, bro. I didn't start having Nike Cortez until I was 15. And so, but meanwhile, I had, some smelly ass feet because I was wearing Pro Wings all the time. Because as soon as you wear the Pro Wings, like 2 hours later, there was sweat.
Patachuca.
Yeah, papá, puro elote. And so, I was like, damn, so I don't know if it's in my nature, but to have compassion towards others, that I could be a dick, I could be a dick.
Yeah, so can I, man.
If I could be an asshole, I'm going to be an asshole, but I don't want to be that way. I feel like, but I also got to guard it too, bro, because people try to mistake that kindness for weakness.
Yeah.
And I when the way I was raised is, hardcore, like can't take shit from nobody. I didn't take shit when I was in juvenile hall or when I was incarcerated. I'm not gonna take shit out here either. But now I think different. Now it's like, you know what? If you can avoid the shit, avoid it.
Yeah.
It took me a couple of years to realize, man, that some of that shit, and you told me too, some of the shit, bro, just let it go.
You have to.
At the end of the day, just let it go. You also always tell me, social media is just fake shit, man. Just let it go. It shouldn't consume you. It shouldn't take its toll on you because you got real shit you got to worry about.
I was talking with my mom the other day. She came to the house, and then I picked her up from her doctor's appointment, took her to her hair appointment, and then I took her to lunch. Then we went to the house, and then she's like, ¿Y tú cómo putas haces para contestar a todos tus seguidores? Well, what are you talking about? And she goes, I know you don't have no notifications on. I'm like, nope. She goes, what's the only notification that you have on? I'm like, my ringer. Like if someone calls me, that's it. That means it's important.
Right.
Like if you have my cell number and you're calling me, that means it's important. Or you're a telemarketer, I'm gonna hang up on you. But at the end of the day, like my emails don't interrupt my day. Like my email, like you could hear it like on my computer, but on my phone, nope. Because you know what? I can't have my personal email go off, my work email go off, and interrupt dinner if I'm having dinner with someone.
Right.
Or like right, I'm with you. It's like it's off. I will check it in 2 hours. And if it's urgent, if it was that urgent, then you would have called me.
Right.
Social media, it's just comments. What is so urgent that I need to get notified that someone says, "Damn, you're hot"? Like, like, or someone that's talking shit, or
Right.
a DM.
Right.
Like, I don't need to hear it.
Right.
Um, and what I told her, so I'm explaining this to her. I said, "Mom, I'm at peace. I'm like, right now, I'm outside with you, right? Um, my phone just rang, and I know who it is. I know they don't have anything urgent, anything pressing, and I know that if my phone rings the second time and it's that same person, okay, maybe I'll pick it up.
Right.
But this conversation, we're in my backyard. This conversation that you and I are having is not going to be interrupted by any fucking emails or social media.
Right. Right.
This is more important than anything fucking else.
Right.
Sometimes people forget that because they actually either grew up with social media, meaning they're the younger generation where they're just on their phone, or they haven't done, I would say, self-reflection or analysis to understand that doesn't matter. What matters is who's in front of you.
Right.
And so, like, when you've told me certain situations and I've told you, bro, just let that shit go, that's how I deal with most stuff.
Right.
I have to because in the grand scheme of things, in the grand universe, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm alive. I'm breathing. I got rice and frijoles at the house.
Right.
I got my little blanket, my little sabana. And I've thought about this before. If shit ever hits the fan and I lose the house, I lose the cars, I lose all the money, like what's gonna keep me? It's my loved ones. My friends, my family, the people that que me pueden to pick me up when I'm down.
Right.
But if I don't take care of it and I'm constantly focusing on social media or my job or working, like for example, somebody sent me a message yesterday. They said, "Hey, bro, can you do an open house in Torrance tomorrow?" So like 6-7 hours. No, 6 hours. They want to do 6 hours. So that means it's going to take me an hour to get there, an hour to get back, at least, an hour to prepare, 6 hours there. I haven't seen my dad. So younger me, without having the self-reflection, younger me would have said, fuck it, yeah, I'll be there. It's work. I'm down.
Quick, yeah.
So I responded to him. I said, hey, man, honestly, I haven't seen my dad. I don't think I can make it. And he said, well, you said that you're willing to do anything for new business.
Right.
Like it was a conversation about like certain things that we want to do.
Right.
And I said, of course. But my dad's more important. So I've learned to accept making less money, because that's the same thing I told my mom. Yo puedo aceptar que because of the way I run stuff, tal vez
It's
gano
less
menos,
money, right.
pero vivo contento.
Yeah.
And so like with the conversations with you, I always see, and again, we haven't known each other for fucking 10 years.
Right.
But the time that we have known each other, the years that we have, it's like I see the growth. And I appreciate that in my friends and people that I care for, because the alternative is my friend suffers
Right.
when you hold on to it.
Right.
My friend suffers when someone says something and it's like fucking eating at you.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, man, like you should be okay, man. Like you're a good guy. You do good work. You do good deeds. You're trying your best. You've changed your life. You're doing positive things.
Right.
You're putting great energy out into the world. Like, I don't want to see you like sitting there, like fucking sitting in it.
Yeah, I think the problem is that because, I was from the streets, everybody points fingers at you.
Yeah.
And they expect the worst from you. But when they see the other side, they don't know how to react to it.
Yeah.
They don't know how to react to a person who can be nice and who can be loving and care for people.
People change, man. People fucking change.
Yeah,
and it's hard for, like, you may have done your work to fucking change and to be that good person, but others that haven't been around on your day-to-day life, from the outside looking in, they continue to judge and they continue to assume you're a certain person.
Right.
It's like, motherfucker, do you sleep next to me?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know shit.
It's true. And you know what? I saw a podcast where you got deep into your personal life. And I was watching that, man. That was pretty deep stuff that you went through, And there's a lot of, I can relate to a lot of it, especially being in a dark place. but to see you out in the light, it's amazing, bro. And just keep going.
We have to. What's the alternative? What's the fucking alternative? Now, like, we're gonna have sad moments. We're gonna fucking cry. Life is gonna fucking hit you.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. It's fucking life. You know what I mean? Like what I've been going through with my family right now, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is, bro. It is. What I went through with my mom in the 2015, it was horrible. So I lost my best friend. That, to me, I've had over 1,000 so-called friends, but I've only had one mother. You know what I mean? And so she was everything, bro. Like, she would, I would be on the bus with her, and I had my size 62s all banged out, bro. All banged out, all starched up, and my 3 lines right here. And we wouldn't sit together because, at that time, people were looking for me, and we were just constantly fighting with other enemies, and I didn't want her to get hurt, so I would sit across from her. And all the people on the bus would just look at me, and they would, mire, cholo.
Yeah.
And they would tell her, and my mom would just look, She would say, yeah, míralo. Yeah, como está vestido. Vergüenza le diría a la mamá, right? So, sí, vergüenza. Esa vieja cerota. Right? And my mom's going along with the whole conversation. Yeah. And when it's time for us to get off the bus, my mom would get up and go, vamos, mijo. And the ladies would look at her like, fuck, we fucked up, And I would look at them and I would tell them, I'll remember you. And they would get so scared. My mom wouldn't tell me nothing until we got to the house. When we got to the house, my mom would talk a gang of shit. She's like, I can't believe it. People they're looking at you that way, and I have to tolerate that shit. And I didn't see the pain that I was putting on her until afterwards that she passed away. Of all these years that, that she went through. Man, my mom, my little brother and myself, we were busted at the same time. My brother was at Silmar, and I was already in Wayside. So we were 2 different directions. Then they had moved me to Tehachapi. So my mom, every Sunday, would get on the bus. She would wait. The first bus was around 3 in the morning. She'd get on 3 in the morning to go to Silmar. Then from Silmar, she would catch the last bus that went from Silmar to downtown. Then from downtown to Tehachapi.
That's so far.
Then from Tehachapi, she would go visit me. Then from Tehachapi, she would have to take the last bus to go back to downtown and back to the house. She did that every Sunday. While my other homeboys had cars, they could have offered her a ride. At that time I was with somebody too, and broke up with her in the middle of the thing because she had a car. She could have taken her. She wouldn't even come see me. And so all that stuff we take for granted because we don't see it. Every argument you have with your mother, it's not even an argument. It's just a hard discussion. Everything that she tells you, tener cuidado, no salgas en la noche, abrigate, all that stuff. There's a reason why they're saying it, My mom would always tell me, si miras al Cadejo, tener cuidado. And she goes, si es el Cadejo blanco, te está cuidando. Si es el Cadejo negro, don't hush it away because it'll attack you.
What's a Cadejo for? So the reason I ask you is because I didn't know what the fuck it was.
Right.
And my dad has always told me stories about like the campo and yeah, he's like things of stories of his uncles and like generations that had come. And one time he said, "So le brinca el Cadejo," and I'm like, who the fuck is that?
Right.
And he had to explain it to me, and then I looked it up. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna get a fucking Cadejo tattooed on me, bro.
So it was weird because my brother and I, we would always get home around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 5. And we would walk maybe like 7 blocks. And every time we would walk, there was a white dog across the street.
This is in Islos or
and this
Rampart?
was in Rampart. And would always walk us to the house.
The dog would,
and would sit there until we got inside. So one time, the Cadejo wasn't white; it was a dark one. It was a black one. We were walking, and he was behind us. And every time we stopped, he would growl, like ready to attack us. So My mom would always say, El Cadejo Blanco was the one that protects you. El Cadejo El Negro is because either something's gonna happen or he's going to attack you if you hush it. But even the Cadejo Blanco, if you try to scare it away, um, it will growl at you. But the Cadejo was basically to take care of you.
But what is a cadejo?
From my understanding, it was a wild dog. It was a wild dog, and from what my mom told me, it was somebody that protected you to make sure you got home safe or to your destination safely, but that you couldn't hush it away like you do to any other dog
Wait,
because they would attack you.
Yeah, that's when I looked it up. It was my dad said it would be como un animal, como un
Yeah.
animal, como un perro, como un
Un
lobo,
perro, yeah,
like
yeah. He would look half dog, half wolf.
yeah.
So it wouldn't be a regular dog, you
Yeah.
know, and then you couldn't just tell him to go away because he's there for a purpose.
Yeah.
And then when we ended up getting busted, that Cadejo was gone,
Mm.
you know. So many times, man, I seen that Cadejo. It was one time that Cadejo stayed until I went inside, and as soon as I went inside, they did a drive-by in my house.
Oh shit.
You know what I mean? Like they shot right as soon as I walked in, they started shooting. So, you know, he wanted to make sure I was inside, and then he left, and then that's when the shooting happened. So it's just, you know, a guard dog / wolf.
It's like a guardian angel,
Yeah.
but
And I didn't believe her until because she would tell me stories before this Cadejo would show up. And yeah, sure enough, man, it happened. It happened. My brother can vouch for that, man. We would see it. My brother was a little crazier than me. So my brother was nuts. And so he
your
would
older brother.
my little brother.
Okay.
That's another thing, man, that you are your brother's keeper. And when you get older, you realize that. You realize that you should have done something different so he wouldn't have taken the same road as you did, you know? But again, I don't put the blame as much on myself anymore because that's a heavy load. Because those are decisions they could have made themselves too, you know? And so, yeah, my brother was he was a hot mess, man.
It's
But
hard, man.
he's good though, man. He's a general contractor. He's doing good things, man. And so I'm very proud of him. We don't speak, we don't talk. It's been a minute. It's been about 15 years, on and off. But you know, that's my little brother, no matter what. But you know, sometimes siblings just better off being distant than being together.
So that's a tough thing. Well, the part about people making their own decisions and choices, it's tough because you want the best for them, and at the end of the day, they have to make their own choice.
Right, right.
Um,
My brother would follow me everywhere. Mind you, we were almost a year apart.
Yeah.
So you know, everything I did, he wanted to do it, but his thing was that he wanted to do it 10 times
Yeah.
better or 10 times worse.
Well, that's the other part. That even though you're raised under the same roof, you still have different personalities.
Right.
And so my dad always says, Diego, I told him once, sí, papá. He's like, you, I told you twice, and you would do it. Tu tercer hermano Miguel, le digo, te voy a pegar, te voy a castigar, te voy a regañar, te voy a jalar de la oreja. He's like, I tell your brother a million fucking times, and he's just like, nope, I'm not fucking doing it. And he goes, that is the simplest way for me to understand how the three of you guys went on in life.
Right.
And again, you see Diego's like a little bit more relaxed. I'm a little bit more aggressive. And then Miguel's a little bit more stubborn. Same roof, same parents, same upbringing. But the personality that you have is your personality.
Yeah, I'm learning that with my own kids. My twin sons, they're, you know, even though they're twins, they have both different personalities, but I only have to tell them once.
Both of them?
Both of them, and they'll do it.
Hmm.
My daughter Melanie, she you know, I spoiled her so much that, like, no, you do it.
But this is the same thing.
You know what I mean? And then my 15-year-old, she's like, right now she's at a stage, bro, that, you know, it's you know, she's like a emo.
Yeah,
You know? My 12-year-old,
How many kids do you have?
I have 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I have 5. Well, I have 6 with my oldest one, but
Uh-huh.
the little one, she's 12. Man, she has my attitude, bro. She has my mad dog look. She has everything. So when I tell her, "Can I'm not gonna do it for you," and she was laughing one time because I told her, "I'm not gonna do nothing for you." She said, "Yes, you are." And then she told her, "Yeah, watch, he's gonna do it." And I did it,
Yeah.
So she knows me at 12 years old. She knows me well, and but that's who I live for.
Yeah.
And again, bro, to me, the whole house parties in the 90s, it's for the culture. It's for them. I don't fill my pockets with anything. I don't gain nothing from it. The events that I do, uh, when I make some money off of it, it goes for my kids.
Right. It's
And at the end of the day, if something, God forbid, happens to me, my daughter Melanie's gonna run the page. I want to leave something for them where they can be proud of me and say, you know what, my dad went through hell, and came back, and now he's helping the community, and he's doing this house parties in the '90s thing, and it's something that I hope they're proud of, because I'm proud of it.
you should be, man.
It's something I created, from scratch, and to be where it's at right now, and to meet wonderful people. I've met a lot of wonderful people on there, bro. A lot, man, a lot. Some
But you
beautiful.
are a creative person, man.
I try to be.
The poetry, the
Yeah,
house
I love
parties,
poetry.
the boleros page,
Oh, the boleros, yeah.
right? Like,
Cómo te extraño, mi amor, ¿por qué será? Me falta todo en la vida si no estás.
the creating the flyers. You are leaving, and a friend of mine. So shout out to Joel. Joel's got the keys because. So I had a podcast with him last week, and then he called me or he sent me some messages afterwards, right?
Right.
And he's like, "Hey man, as I was sitting there, I was looking at your art, and I felt surrounded by like your creativeness, right? And I had these thoughts because we were talking about death, and I'm telling him I don't want to fucking die. Like I have that like I think about death all the time, dude, and it hasn't been like." Oh, just this week. No, I think about it like since I was a kid. I used to be like, oh, I'm gonna be like James Dean, and maybe all of us have these thoughts. Like, I'm gonna be James Dean and die fucking young. Um, and so you are leaving something. You're leaving your poetry. You're leaving. It may sound ridiculous to some, but you're leaving the flyers you created, the music you create, all the stuff that you created. You're leaving something that others are going to connect with. And Joel told me that in the message. He said, "Hey, dude, I know you think about death all the time, and maybe you didn't think about it this way, but your art's going to live beyond you. Your art's going to live for others. So
Right.
technically, you're going to live for as long as that piece lives, or what we're recording today.
Right.
It's going to go online, and it's going to be there, and people are going to watch it. Who knows? 20 years from now, maybe
Like
30.
a time capsule.
Yep. So you
Yeah.
are creating, and you are leaving stuff, and you are leaving us with positivity, because that's all I've experienced
Right.
from the 3 pages that you have.
Right. The flyer thing, I gotta give it up to PR printing. They helped me with his name is Richard. Helps me out a lot with the creating the flyers, man. But big shout out to him. But you're right, man. I saw there was a need for boleros. I saw the need, and it's a homage to my mom.
Yeah.
Because to be frank, I didn't know nothing about music until I heard her playing her vinyls. She went from I went from listening because of her the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, oldies, of course La Fiebre Amarilla, vi los Caracas Boys,
Leodan.
Leodan, Julio Jaramillo, all these and all the trios. Even I was a big fan of Juan Gabriel when I was a kid, because of her. So all that music, and to this day I'm at awe about just the way a second grade dropout knew so much about a lot of things, and her cooking. Oh my God, and so I focus on that a lot, and I want to leave that to my kids, man. Say, you know what, your dad was a fuck up at one point, but I think he's done pretty good, to redeem himself, and so. you know, and like I said, I met a lot of wonderful people on here, and there's a lot of wonderful people that are part of the house party family, just like yourself, who never let me give up. You know, there's times that I'm like, fuck, should I let it be the last year? 'Cause I don't want to do this shit no more. But then there's something that says, no, you got to keep going. You know, maybe on the, you know, we're going on 6 years. Maybe on the 10th anniversary, maybe I'll cut down on the events and just focus more on the page itself. And also, I'm trying to hit up the LA school district so I can go to every classroom and kind of tell the story and not just have it on Instagram, but actually tell the story of, you know, of my life in the party scene era, and see what they need, man. So I remember growing up, you had arts and craft, you had the wood shop, you had drama. I was in drama too. So they had all these programs that don't no longer exist. And if you want to, and if you want to be a part of these programs, they cost money. Why? You know, like, I remember when the lottery came out in the 80s and they said, oh, 50% of it's going to go to the schools. So all the schools were like, this is awesome. We don't have to pay for shit. The teachers don't have to come out of pocket. Bullshit. Maybe like 2% goes to the damn 2 or 3% go to the schools.
Bro, those the backpacks that we do at the high school, that's 100% donation. So it's not money from fucking school or no district program. It's just like people that want to donate to homeless high schoolers. We just want to say a big thank you to all the sponsors that helped us raise $10,000 for Chaffee High School's backpack program. I have the principal here, and she has a few words to say.
I just want to say thank you to all the sponsors. Our students have big dreams. They want to do things with their life, and I just know that these types of events help them have hope and dream big.
Yeah. And so I'm like, how the fuck? How can kids be homeless or be transient and or maybe not have food? I'm just like,
Bro, it's amazing to see these kids. They used to give us, growing up at school, they used to give us pencils. They used to give us erasers. They used to give us paper. They used to give us rulers. They used to give us all that shit. Colors. They used to give us all that. And if you didn't have, they would give you more paper. They'd take paper to go home. They would give you folders.
mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, the lottery comes over here and says, oh, we're going to give you this much. They don't do it. And then they start cutting, you know, the classes that'll keep students occupied. Drama classes, you know, kids would stay after school, man, to do a play. And it would keep the kids busy. And so, you know, there's a lot of stuff, man. Even for the toy drive, nothing comes from big corporates. It all comes from the followers.
So big shout out to the followers.
So big shout out to all the house parties in the 90 followers, man, because the page wouldn't be without its followers, man. You know, and some of them, I don't want my name out there, but here you go.
Yeah.
You know, and this last year that we did, it was mainly the house parties in the 90s family. It wasn't so much. It was a lot of followers, but the majority were the Canner One, Marisol, Chu Lopez, his wife. Everybody was involved.
I hope this is not the only time that you and I sit down and talk. You know, I do want to like talk to other DJs because, like, to me, it's, man, everybody has a unique story. Like your story, we didn't get that into it because, again, I don't do these with like an ulterior motive, right? Like I'm not trying to get gotcha content. I'm not trying to. It's just like let me chop it up with the homie, hit the record button, and see what happens.
Yeah, I this is why I'm comfortable speaking a lot of the stuff that I normally don't talk to nobody, only to her or to, you know, a couple of people. But I feel comfortable enough to talk to you about it because maybe some people are going through some stuff, and if they realize that they're not the only ones, then they could probably say, you know, it's a motivation for me to do something. You know, right now, my head's all over the place. I want to go back to school. You know,
what do you want to what do you want to study?
I wanted to be a respiratory therapist in honor of my mom. See, everything I
that what she did?
She had congestive heart failure and respiratory problems, and so in honor of her life, I wanted to do that. But there's certain things that they told me that if you become that, you have to do certain things to patients. I don't know.
It's Diego has a lot of friends that do that, and I think one of his friends had like babies pass on him, like pass away, right? Because you're saving their life. They come in ER, all that shit, and I'm like, I can't fucking do that. But I can't.
But my best bet of going back to school is I want to be some type of counselor.
Okay.
If I could help one child, then I think I've done my job. I back in the day when I was in a continuation, I was a mentor to a kid, and so I was barely trying to hang on and try to be on the right track. But this kid, man, he was 12 going on 13, and he lived in a rough neighborhood, but he was a skater. And it was hard for him to go to school and then leave from school because they're always trying to jump him in. So I told him, look, try to avoid it. Come to school every day, and by Christmas time, I'll give you a brand new board, because the one he had was all beat up. Man, that motivated him. He would go to school every day. He was getting good grades. The week of Christmas, before Christmas vacation, we're supposed to exchange gifts before the school vacation, and he didn't show up. And I'm like, well, where is he at? So my teacher gets a phone call, and she starts crying. And I go, what's up? What happened? His name was Oscar. So what happened to Oscar? And I'm looking, I'm with the board, ready to give it to him. He's like, oh, they stabbed him to death the night before. They told him, you're going to get in or what? And they told him, no, I don't want to be from nowhere. He goes, well, yeah.
What the fuck?
He was only, 13? That really hit me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That really hit me. I gave the mom the board, and
How old are you? Or
I was 16.
Wow.
He was 13. Yeah, we were doing our teacher wanted to have some type of program where the same kids can help other kids.
But was it like you guys were? What was the ages? You guys were all the same age?
Well, the continuation let everybody, there are certain people that were at risk of getting kicked out of the school district. So that's why he went to our school. It was a continuation. Maybe it was
But you guys were the same age, though.
Yeah, around the same age. I was 2 years, 3 years older than him.
What the?
Yeah. And so they stabbed him. I think 30 times. They stabbed him about 30 times, and
That's fucking crazy, man.
and it really, really hit me. It really messed me up.
I was thinking you were saying something like an older brother program or something like that. Right now, when you started saying it, I didn't realize that you guys were nearly the same age.
Yeah, well, what they tried to do, what that program was about, teenagers helping teenagers. Whether you were 2 years older or 3 years older, gotta help the new kids that are coming up, trying to prevent them from what you were doing.
Yeah.
And this kid he was a skater, man. He had long hair. He was real, bueno, flaquito, man. You know, and I really took a liking into him because he wasn't about that life, but because he lived in a certain neighborhood, it was expected for him to get into the neighborhood. And so they didn't tolerate the no's. It had to be yes.
What the fuck?
And so did they catch the guy who did it? Yeah, they caught him. And, he got his little 25 to life, but he's alive. Were things done? Yeah, there was things done to take care of what happened to the little boy, but it should have never got to that point where he ended up getting killed because he didn't join the neighborhood. And nowadays, people are, they make fun of cholos and they make fun of all kinds of the way we were dressed or whatever. But if you had lived back then, what we lived, this new generation wouldn't be making fun of it.
Whoa. I remember, dude. This camera's out on battery, so I just gotta charge it. No, but I remember in elementary, and there was these cholos on the corner. I'm talking about cholos like these fools are grown ass men, like.
Right.
And I was a kid, and like there was just no. Oh, these are little kids. Like I'm not gonna fuck with them. Like these are little kids, and I'm gonna fuck with them because they're fucking little kids, and just punking us, dude, and just being like, let me see your bike real quick. What size are the like? But it wasn't like, again, like these kids were 15-year-olds, you know, punking like a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Even then, that's a little messed up. But
Right.
these are grown ass
Men
fucking punking like all the little kids in the neighborhood, because again, back then it's like this is the life.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like this is the neighborhood. Like whether you want to be in it or not in it, like this is what's up. And man, like you said, it's there's this thing from Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson is I think I've talked to you about him, a clinical psychologist, but and I know it's late, dude. So
No.
Oh.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
no, but he says something. He says, "Hey, if you guys were, if you guys lived in Germany during Nazi times, he's like, don't think you wouldn't be a Nazi."
Browning details how they went from ordinary policemen to guys who were taking naked pregnant women out into the middle of fields and shooting them in the back of the head.
He's like, human psychology and the way that people are, like people push your boundaries, and it's like they take a bit, they take a little. I don't
understand how it gets to the point
where
things
get to terrible places one tiny step at a time.
So it's not like overnight Nazi Germany became Nazi Germany. It was like little by little by little by little, they started doing shit.
If I encroach on you and I'm sophisticated about it, I'm going to encroach 2 millimeters. I'm going to encroach right to the point where you start to protest. Then I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to wait. Then you're going to calm down. Then I'm going to encroach again right to the point where you protest. Then I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to wait. And I'm just going to do that forever. And before you know it, you're going to be back 3 miles from where you started, and you'll have done it one step at a time. And then you'll go, oh, how'd I get here? And the answer was, well, I pushed you a little farther than you should have gone, and you agreed. And so then I pushed you a little farther than you should have gone again, and you agreed.
So it's kind of like the whole concept of you're a product of your environment.
Right.
It's like, these weren't bad people, but they're humans. And that's what's happening in the political culture. So you just start excusing. So like when you're in a neighborhood and that's what's going on, it's like, it's not that you want to be a part of it, but it's almost like that te envuelven todo el aspecto. And it just happens. It just happens. And so like, you know, for this kid to not want to do that and for them to just be like, to do that to him.
Yeah, I think from my understanding, the other kids that were there, they were already in the neighborhood, so it was for them to come up and start earning their stripes. So what better way than to stab somebody that doesn't want to get into your neighborhood? The stuff that is talked about now wasn't talked about back then, bro. We couldn't bring up La M. It was a no-no, bro. If you knew somebody, you couldn't even say who he was.
Right.
Now everybody does podcasts and they mention names and all that shit.
Dude, I see some of the shit people are saying, and I'm like, how the fuck? Like, you just said that you did that? Like,
Right.
wait, do you know the statute of limitations of what you just admitted?
Yep. Yep. And
Like,
they incriminate themselves so much, bro.
I don't get it.
And it's like, for me,
I can dance around. I can dance around some of the things,
Yeah.
but like, I'm not going to say a lot
I
of things.
still have homeboys that I talk to on the phone that don't want me to say too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, hey, so what's up, bro? You know, like, or we having a conversation. Hey, remember that night? Yeah, dog. Yeah, we went to go pick up some French fries, and I already know what that means.
Yeah.
I already know what that means, and I'm telling, yeah, we picked up a few French fries along the way. Yeah. But they still have that thing, that mentality, you know. But now you got these new kids brainwashing these old heads to incriminate themselves. I've seen guys my age on podcasts talking about, yeah, dog, I was in a pinta and I stabbed this motherfucker to death. And okay, motherfucker, you killed somebody in prison. That's still murder.
Yeah.
You're gonna catch a case right now. All this bragging on fucking social media is gonna get you busted right back in there.
I don't get it.
And
have you seen that? Like, I'm like, yo, dude. Again, we could talk about certain things, right?
Right.
Like we have now, and I think we both dance around our parts.
Right.
Off camera, hey, we could have conversations about.
Of course, I can tell you everything about what I know, but there's certain things that we grew up can't mention it, bro. You can't. And yeah, hey, we got other pages out there that make fun of cholos, make fun of the way they walk, the way they dress. I didn't grow up that way.
Yeah.
I was one of them. I respected another motherfucker that was dressed just like me.
Right.
Because I didn't know what he had inside his pants.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
I was talking about this with my boy Thomas. He goes, yeah. He said he grew up in Rancho, right? So he's like, yeah, but I grew up in the bad part of Rancho there was like cholos on the street, the people getting shot up, there's drugs, all these things. And I told him it's funny because back in the day, you knew who a cholo was.
Right.
Like I could say like, oh, that's a cholo. Right. I was like, nowadays, you don't know who a cholo is. Like, it's very, very rare. So, but we were just talking about that because you don't know. Look, you got a burner in your pocket.
My perspective, and I've told her this many, many times, bro. I was born and raised in the ghetto. People had to survive.
Yeah.
You had 20 different gangs in a 0.5 mile radius. Different neighborhoods. And then I go to Culver City. I go to La Puente. I go to all these other cities. Beautiful places, bro. Beautiful homes. I'm like, what the hell were you thinking about gangbang? Like, bro, like.
Was it because when I worked in South Central, man, I didn't realize that a lot of kids, let's say in South Central, have never left the neighborhood. And what I mean by that is like literally left the fucking block where they've never been to the beach. And we've recorded literally for almost 3 hours.
Nice.
But it keeps now it's dying on me.
It's okay, brother. We can finish it up some other time.
Yeah, well, I mean, better. So when I would talk to like the people at the church or things like that, and they would just say, "Hey, George, you know what? Like these kids just haven't been anywhere. They've never been to the mountains, so they don't know. All they know is between Western and MLK.
Yeah.
All they know is these little streets, like the Bloods, the Crips, like down Slauson, Crenshaw, but they've never had anybody."
I'm gonna tell you, George. I didn't start going to Disneyland till I went to Disneyland when I was like 5. That was it. After that, I was from the streets. I didn't want to leave my post. Put it that way. So everybody will go to. I never been to a Dodger game. No. I never been to a Laker game, and I think I've told you this. I've never been there before. And I was born and raised around there. There where Staples Center was at. I used to live in that building before they tore it down and became Staples Center. And I didn't go to the beach until later on in my lifetime because I didn't want to leave the neighborhood. And I thought everybody who would leave, they were all busters. So why are you going to get in a gang and then leave your area? You got to protect it. Yeah. So when I went to Disneyland again since I was, 10 or 5, my kids, my twin sons, they were turning 3. And it took all those years to finally go to Disneyland. Magic Mountain. The only time I would go to Magic Mountain is every time I went to jail because Wayside is right off the 5 freeway. So you got the Magic Mountain on this side and Wayside is on this side. You know what I mean? So so I never been there. Knott's Berry Farm. This is my 3rd time going. We just went last month, but the first time I went was with my daughters. Universal Studios is the first time I ever went. I went with my mom in 2010. So there's a lot of things that at 48 I haven't lived. I haven't seen it. I've only gone camping one time in Oregon. Would I do it again? Hell no. That's some white people shit, man. I would never go there, man. I would never go camping again.
Did you stay in a tent?
Yeah, I stayed in a tent, and I heard some shit growling outside the tent, and I'm trying to scream because the guy that was on the other tent was like, "Bro, I'm gonna be awake until maybe 4 o'clock in the morning because I don't sleep, but I'll make sure that if anything comes near the tent."
Were you guys in the woods?
Yeah, we're in the middle of nowhere. We're in the woods, and so that night he decides to tell this fucking story. This scary story and shit. I'm like, bro, now you fucked me up. So we went in the tent. He was, he had the gun. He goes, I'll make sure that, whatever comes, I'll just shoot up in the air so they can leave. This motherfucker falls asleep. Oh, shit. And next thing you know, I see somebody, like, these fucking claws, they're touching the tent, and he's growling. It didn't sound like a fucking bear. Yeah. And he was like, and how old was I? Cadejo. I was 42. It was 6 years ago. I was 42, and I'm like, I'm gonna piss on my pants. My God, I dodged bullets. I survived the gang life just to get killed over here in the fucking middle of nowhere. Yeah. And next thing you know, he starts growling so hard, so I start screaming because they say you gotta scream too. Yeah. So I start screaming loud, and I hear it taking off into the woods. And then I'm like, Heath, because there was a white guy that invited me to go camping, and this motherfucker falls asleep. Heath. He's like, what happened, boss? He goes, there was a fucking animal right in front of my tent, man. Where were you? Goes, I'm sorry, boss. I fell asleep. Yeah, I said, give me the gun. Yeah. I'll take care of your ass. Bro, and that was the last time I went camping anywhere. My kids, like, Dad, let's, I want to go camping. Oh, have fun. Make sure you take a lot of shit, a lot of guns, because I ain't going with you guys.
That's funny, man.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of people, and it's a fact, bro. There's a lot of us that, that we're barely learning
to live.
To live.
And
I'm so scared to go to a Dodger game. People don't see that. I'm literally scared because I've never been to one. I see it all the time on TV and how fun they have, and I hear about it all the time.
You like baseball?
I like baseball, but I'm not. Basketball's my shit. I never been to a football game, and I love the Rams. But that's the thing, bro. I should let go of that shit and just live it. Go to a Dodger game. It doesn't matter if you. And it sucks because she always wants to go to these oldie concerts. I've been to them, but when I was younger, and it's just to go fight.
Yeah.
I've never enjoyed myself. So to me, it's not exciting, But now I'm realizing a lot of these bands, a lot of these groups, a lot of these groups, they're fading away. So I got to take advantage. So, we're going to a couple of them. But yeah, man, I want to go to a Dodger game so bad, but no voy. A Laker game. I want to sit down there and watch a Laker game. And my son did take me to a Laker game in Portland, but it's not the same as at home.
Yeah.
I want to go see a Ram game. And, those are the little things I need to,
My mom told me the other day, she goes, me quiero ir en un crucero solo. O sola, perdón. She's like, I want to go to Alaska. And my mom, dude, she's been to Alaska. She's been to Colombia. She travels. She goes.
You know what I like about your mom? Her energy.
Yeah. She's good vibes.
She does. You can watch her on the phone or on the lap, and she's like, it transcends. You know what I mean? Like you're having a fucked up day and you see her and she just smiles and she's just being goofy in an adult childish way. You know what I mean? And she doesn't expect anybody to. She doesn't care what anybody says. That's just her having fun. And a lot of people are so uptight they don't know how to react to it.
She tells me it's like that song from Carnaval or one of those from Celia Cruz.
Yeah, Celia Cruz. No hay que llorar.
Just vive la vida, but just live. Like she just sent me an invite the other day for her fucking birthday party, and I'm like, yeah. she's like, I'm having a party, and like growing up, it would bother me a lot of times that she was like super out there, right? Um, and then like on her birthdays especially, and then she said, "Es que estoy celebrando otro año de vida." Like, like quiero celebrar. Like I want to celebrate that I'm alive.
Right.
And I'm like, man, I never looked at it that way. Like, I mean, to me, just a birthday was a birthday. Like, oh, okay, like, you know, like another year. But just hearing her emotion behind, I want to celebrate that I'm alive with the people that I love.
Right.
And the people that matter. I'm like, fuck, dude, my mom's right. Like all these things, I'm like, damn it, this lady's right. So
yeah, I used to say the same thing about my mom. My mom would never. She would never. She stopped. She said she stopped saying her age when she hit 28. Right.
like
So
all girls do.
yeah. So but my mom was like she would love to host.
Oh, okay.
So she for anything she would throw a party.
Yeah.
Puta, se te cayó la muela, hay que hacer fiesta. Se te cayó la mollera, hay que hacer fiesta. My mom would throw these parties, bro, and the next day we'd be broke.
Yeah.
But she threw her party, and to her, that was, well, fuck it, we're not going to eat for 2 days, but goddamn, we had a good time.
Rice and beans.
And in the beginning, I would get mad, but, now I understand her. She was enjoying her life at the moment because of all the shit she went through. She deserved it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I deserve to have a be a host and invite people. And I'm gonna tell you, cuando murió mi mamá, all my homeboys that she helped raise, that grew up with me, and she hit their guns. She hit them when they had warrants. She practically raised a lot of them. They're the only ones that showed up.
Yeah.
All my mom's friends, it was too far for them. My mom, we did her services in Lancaster because we were living in Lancaster when she passed away. And all her friends lived on Pico Union Rampart. Bro, it's an hour away.
An hour away.
But it wasn't as important as if my mom would have said, hey, I'm throwing a pupuseada. Come on through. Free beer and free pupusas. They would have been there in a heartbeat. So I have a picture with just all my homeboys and my homegirls and my kids. That's it. So all the people that showed up, that's it. And I didn't do a traditional, my mom didn't want that. My mom wanted to be cremated, and she wanted me, she didn't want the services at church. So my ex-brother-in-law goes, just do it at the house. And I didn't get a priest. I got a spiritual person. She said a bunch of beautiful things that even she said, your mom's here right now. It's a trip because when we did her services, the mother of my kids, my mom taught her how to make pollo guisado. Oh no, carne guisada, right? But she never told me that my mom was teaching her. She goes, so when the day I die, I want you to make it so when he eats it, he'll remember me.
That's crazy.
Right? So I'm like, okay, so I'm like, so what are you doing? Carne guisada? I said, she's gonna fucking taste horrible. It's not gonna be my mom's. As soon as I took a bite, all my mom's memories came. Like, oh shit. So yeah, your mom was teaching me for a long time how to make it just the way she makes it, the same amount of everything. Moms don't measure shit.
That's what my mom's doing right now. When we were having that talk, I told you in the backyard. Right. She's like, oh, quiero ir a Alaska, quiero hacer esto. It's like, like be happy, right? And then she said, she goes, es que me encula cocinar. So I'm like, well, why don't you do your cookbook, right? And she goes, ya empecé. Like, and so what I want to do is I actually want to record her. I want to record her recipes. I want to, this is the fucking thing. Exactly what you said. No miden nada.
They don't.
They're just like, and then I already know, but it's like, I can't cook like that, Mom. You need to tell me exactly how much to put in it, because otherwise I'm going to mess it up. You know?
No, but they want you to do exactly how they do it, and so they don't measure shit. So I was surprised she got it on point.
Yeah.
So that day we ate carne guisada con bolillos, and then we went to a bakery, we bought a bunch of quesadillas con café, cafetal, the Salvi coffee, and I was playing all her favorite music. So that was on May 9th of 2015. May 9th, that was her services. May 10th was Mother's Day, and May 14th her birthday. So I included all the rest of them on her services. So I said, you know what, we're gonna let go of all these balloons, and we're gonna sing happy birthday to her. And once we're done, we're gonna let go of the balloons. So everybody grabbed the balloon and we sang to her, and everybody let go of the balloons. The only one that didn't go up was mine. Mine stayed right there and it kept floating and it wouldn't move. It would just stay there. And everybody said, "That's your mom," and it wouldn't move. And what it did was it just started moving towards the street, but it never went up.
Yeah.
It just vanished going that way. And I have a picture. I'll send it to you. So I'm sitting down. Services are over. Everybody's gone. I take off my suit. I'm the only one dressed in a suit. Everybody came like whatever. And my sister-in-law told me, she goes, your mom would have been proud of you that you didn't dress like whatever, that you honored her with a suit. And a lot of us should have done that. I said, no, well, it's all good. So I sat down. My son just grabbed the phone out of nowhere. He goes, hey, Dad. And as soon as I turned around, he took a picture. And when he took a picture, you've seen it, no? And you look at it, and there's a white light that's coming from, there's no light right there, but there's a white light coming from the sky. And it's right here, and it's like touching me from right here. You can see my face that I'm sad, but it's a hand like, touching me right here. And my son goes, look, this is grandma. And, it just brought a little bit of peace in me because, my mom didn't want the whole church thing. She just wanted me to cremate her, and she wanted the urn to be in the house. And it's right there. But she did promise me, she made me promise her that some of the ashes, I have to go to El Puerto and drop them off over there. So that's my mission, man. I want to go to El Salvador hopefully next year and drop off some of her ashes because she used to live across the street from the beach. Right now, Japan had bought all that property now. Now it's all tourism. So they tore down the house where she used to live at. Yeah. They gave them like $1,000 for that house. Now it's worth like almost $90,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's it's a bunch of stuff, bro. And you're lucky you don't see me being a chillon right now, because when I talk about my mom, like I just break down, because like I said, she was my best friend. Like she was the only one who would go see me in jail, the only one who would take care of me, the only one who taught me right from wrong, and so I still owe her a lot, even though she's not here with me. I don't know if that makes sense.
Of course it does, man. It's my dad lost his dad when he was 13 to alcohol. And my dad still cries about it because he misses him.
Right.
It's like he misses him, and then he's also mad at him. He's mad at him because it's like a choice that his dad made. Like, you fucking chose to drink, that te dijeron. He goes, I remember, my dad's like, yo me recuerdo ver a mi papá vomitar sangre.
Yeah.
Y el doctor le dijo, ya no puedes tomar, si tomas te vas a morir. Y mi papá tomó. So, like, I've seen my dad break down.
My mom, she drank for 30 years. You know what I mean? In 2010, she said, I'm not drinking no more. But I didn't know. And, that's one of some of the guilt trip that I finally let go. I didn't know that just the way you drink, when you stop drinking, you can't just stop drinking.
No, you can't.
Because it'll kill you.
Yes.
So my mom quit. Así. And that was the time that my daughter Lizzie was born. She was, I'm just going to take care of Lizzie. And so, she was, man, she had this nasty fucking detox, She was detoxing herself. She just,
your mom?
Yeah, she had the shakes and sweating, all that. So I'm like, Mom, this doesn't look good. She was, no, I'm fine, like I'm not gonna drink anymore, And ya, she would see a can of beer, le daba asco. But I didn't know that it could kill you too. So
that's crazy, isn't it? Like, I didn't, and I mean, obviously I found that out, but that I think it's alcohol is the only thing that you can detox from that can kill you.
Kill you, yeah. So I said, I'm taking you to the emergency room after 3 months, because I saw her from being 140 pounds to 90 pounds.
Hmm.
And that's when the doctor said, bro, your mom's not going to last. She's got 10 months to live.
Hmm.
She has cirrhosis. She has a tumor in her left lung. She has a hernia. She has hypertension. She has all kinds of shit. I'm like, fuck. She goes, you need to talk to your mom and let her know. So I look at my mom. There's a picture of her that I took at Denny's. And I have her posted right there. And before I took the picture, I told her, Mom, I have something to tell you. The doctor said you only got 10 months to live. And she just looked at me and she smiled, and that's how I ended up taking the picture, because I told her, Mom, just smile. So she smiled. I took the picture. She was, lo que sea la voluntad de Dios. That's all she could say. And so when she passed away, I was mad at her. Like, why the fuck would you say that? Why can't you say, son, I'm sorry?
Yeah.
I'm sorry that, I drank my life to the point where I'm going to die. But fortunately, it wasn't 10 months. She lasted another 5 years, But I see my mom going from this strong, salvi lady to this weak person, bro. That she would go to the bathroom, and next thing you know, she would fall on the floor. And what I love about my sons, that my sons were like, nah, Dad, we got this, So they would go in the bathroom, lift up her underwear and clean her up and take her to the room. That's why my sons decided to go that route. They started working for a convalescent home in honor of my mom, because of that. They don't know the hospital. We seen grandma at her worst.
Yeah.
And my mom actually died in my son's arms.
Damn.
He was giving her CPR, and he goes, "There's when you give your last breath, there's a whistle. They call it the last whistle of life, and you can hear your soul leaving." And so they're grunting a lot. So when the ambulance showed up, they grabbed her, and they're like, "We can't drive all the way to the hospital, so we're gonna have to airlift her."
Oh shit.
So they airlifted her to the hospital, and I was at work. And when I got out of work, I called and I said, "Hey, what time can I pick up my mom?" This was at 8:30 in the morning. Morning. And the doctor goes, "Oh, you're Samuel Alcaraz?" And I'm like, "How the fuck did he know my name?" And then the doctor goes, I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You're Mercedes Alcaraz's son?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, what time can I pick her up?" So I'm sorry to tell you, but she passed away. Passed away at 8:27. No, I'm sorry, at 8:28. So I had called 2 minutes later. And she goes, "But I'm going to tell you this much. She fought for her life for those 8 minutes. She didn't want to die." And I said, "You know what? I'm on my way." And he goes, "There's no need to." So I'm on my way to go kill you because you killed my mother.
Shit.
And I showed up with a gun and I put it on his head.
What?
Came out on the news.
What?
Yeah. Came out. They were about to kill me too. The sheriff showed up with the guns drawn at me. And the doctor goes, You shoot at him. Yeah, I'm going to press charges against you guys. Leave him alone.
Oh, the doctor told him that?
Yeah. And he's like, "We'll put the gun down. Let me explain to you what happened to your mother." I said, "No, you killed my mom." Yeah, so the doctor put the hand down. "Let's have a seat." So we sat down and we were there for about 4 hours. But they wouldn't let me see her. That's what I was telling her. I couldn't see my mom. We can't allow you to see her.
Why?
I don't know. They said because the compressions and all that stuff, she was all bruised up.
Oh shit.
So they didn't want me to see her. And I think it was something that God planned, because they know I would have gone crazy. I would have shot myself, And we sat down for about 4 hours and me calmé, and the sheriff's left. He's like, "I'm not pressing charges." He even got in front of them.
Really?
It's like, "I'm not pressing charges." He said, he even told me, he goes, "Bro, you're not the first. You're not the first one, and I don't think you're gonna be the last one. But hopefully, by the time it's the next one, I should be retired." And so I didn't see my mom's body at all. And so she was like, "It's weird for you not to see her body." I mean, not even at the morgue.
This was in 2015.
2015.
So, I mean, obviously no COVID, so it's not like
Yeah.
you could have.
And so they told me, no, her body's already decomposing. And so, I was so worried about making sure I took care of the funeral arrangements that I just let all that shit go.
My dad, when he went to the hospital 2 months ago, right? Well, first of all, when he got COVID.
Yeah.
I remember you got really sick, right?
Yeah.
When my dad got COVID, dude, we couldn't see him. He almost died. And I'm like, the fuck? You mean I can't see him? Like, you can't come into the hospital? Like, nothing. And people were dying without knowing that, like, are they really dead? Like, you start having that fucking crazy thought in your head, like, wait. Are they really dead? Did they really die?
Yeah.
So it was tough then, and then it was tough when this time that he had a heart attack. This time that he had a heart attack, obviously we could see him, we could.
Gracias a Dios, man. It wasn't around the time with COVID because you would have never seen him.
No.
Because when I was in there, I was at Kaiser.
Uh-huh.
Over here in San Gabriel Valley.
Yeah.
And first they didn't want to see me, and I was feeling like shit. I was dying. No, you actually have to be like practically dying. So I went back to my car. By the time I got into I was about to open the door when I fainted. That's when they put me on a gurney and they took me inside. And once I was in there, they put me on that machine for a little bit. And then I saw when they were walking on every room, 2 doctors, 2 nurses, and with a clipboard. And they would go like this. Him yes, him no. Him yes, him no.
Like you get a bed, you don't. You get a bed or you get a room.
You die, you don't. You die, they were playing God, bro.
Oh.
Yeah, like this one's got to go. This one could stay. Some of them weren't sick.
Yeah.
Some of them were there for a cold, but they had to go. And a lot of innocent people died during the whole COVID thing. And I saw that shit. When they went towards me, like, motherfucker, you better say how to get to living. So they, fortunately, they said yes to me.
Was it the same doctor? Because he's like, all right.
They were. I mean, I guess they had a clipboard of the names from each side, and so they were like, "Yeah."
No, I'm just saying, if it was the same doctor, then that motherfucker.
Oh yeah, hey, remember you put the gun at me, motherfucker? I'm gonna get you back. And so what I did, I went back. I was staying at a hotel because I was here for some events, and I ended up getting sick after my event.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I have a CPAP machine. And they were talking about, well, you need another machine in order to survive or whatever. I said, you know what? I'm going to put the CPAP machine, see if it works. And that shit saved my life, bro.
Yeah.
So all you do is just put water on it and it evaporates and turns into air. So it was giving my lungs air. So I wouldn't take that shit off because from the bed, let's say the bed's right here and the bathroom is by the window, I had to crawl because I was so weak.
Yeah.
I had to crawl to the bathroom. Sometimes I wouldn't make it.
How long were you in the hospital for?
The house only 4 days.
Yeah.
Because they were like, we gotta use that respiratory shit for the next patient. You gotta go, bro. You made it. The other people were there. As soon as they were there, they were like, nope, you're dying.
Oh, my dad was in there for a month. Man. So
he's so lucky,
bro. You know what he calls it, and this is like part of what. What you said about my mom, about how she's all like funny online and silly.
Right.
He calls it mi pequeña vacación, which has helped me so much, like perspective from my parents and how they view life. It's like, motherfucker, you almost died, but always he calls it his little vacation. I don't want to stop talking, man, but the camera keeps going out, and I think we could keep talking another time.
Yeah, no, let's do it for another time. No problem, brother.
Yeah. Big thank you.
No, thank you, brother.
And for being transparent, for being honest. I appreciate you. I want to support the page, so I want to do the boleros. the house parties, the TikTok, but more than anything, your friendship, man. And so before this shit cuts out again,
yes, sir.
I appreciate you, brother.
Oh no, I appreciate
and we'll do
you,
this
brother.
again next time.
Yes, we will.
And thank you for the pan dulce.
Of
I'm gonna take
course,
it from
I
my
was
parents.
gonna hit up a Salvi Panaderia, but we're like, no. By the time we get to where I'm from, to the Rampart one, I said, no, it's gonna be too late. So where do we go? Northgate,
Yeah,
the bakery.
No, but thank you again, man.
No, thank you, brother. You already know, friends for life, family for life, man. That's for your brother.
All right, thank you, man.
Hey, hold on, and then this one too.
Ooh, I like that one right here. See, I told you, girls. Yeah, dude, girls.
See, here's the other one.
Girl, I'll house you.
Yeah, there's a metaphor for
Girl, I'll house you. It's a metaphor for what? But then, house music all night long.
And of course.
Oh, yeah, there you go. See, I need that one right here. Yeah, oops. Dude, see, you know what? The pink. I had a...
There's the peg right there.
Because you got the pink right there?
Yeah.
So there you go. I'm definitely going to rush this one right here. This one's going to be mine for sure. I like this one, man. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. You already know, man. Thank you.
No,
Thank you for having me, man.